If you ever want to geek out with Rosko.
Yeah, do it with Rosko.
Oh, there you go.
That is the best slogan ever.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Rosko here, and it's Monday night, so you know that means it's Between the Lines, and we're back. I'm so sorry I took off last week. I was doing some traveling, went across the state, and I had a little vacay. Some things happened, but overall, had a little nice vacation. It was my birthday. Not quite 40 yet, but almost there. But yeah, had a great time. Shout out to my aunt and uncle, my Uncle Ron and Aunt Wendy. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate you guys. Great time over there. You guys saw some pictures I may have posted up over there in the sunset. Oh, gorgeous sunset. Anyway, we're here right now, and it is Monday night. It is Between the Lines. Your award-winning one, I'm going to say. But anyway, I just got to say, I want to shout out to the Monday night lineup, our homies. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have my guy who's been filling in as co-host to shout out the Monday night lineup. So I didn't say this backstage to him, so now he's like looking at me like, you jerk. But guess what? He's the best.
Don't be embarrassed in front.
Away from me.
Don't be embarrassed in front of the camera, Squirrel Boy.
Yeah, stop calling me Squirrel Boy.
Get on out of the tree.
No.
Hey, Phil. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Welcome back, sir. Hope you had some good time off.
Yeah, it was nice.
Long walks on the beach, puppies.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
Sunsets, bonfires.
Oh, how do you know? You watching everything I've been doing? But I gotta say, thank you so much again. Appreciate you being here, filling in for our man, our guy TM Nerdy. Miss you, brother. Get everything in order. Can't wait for you to come back. So please, But again, Phil, thank you so much. Can you do me a favor? I didn't tell you this backstage, but can you shout out the Monday night crew, Monday night lineup?
Oh, you mean the folks in the audience?
No. The Monday night lineup guys, Izzy and.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you're catching me without seeing the list.
Sorry, it's all good. I was gonna say because I love when you announce people, but you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
I'll do it.
Shout out
week,
to our homies tonight with the Monday night lineup, starting over with Izzyverse NYC, and then after that, our guy Scotty S Vaughn 82 had an awesome artist over there. Woof! Oh, and shout out to our man TJ was hanging out with Izzy over there, and again, great artist over there with Scotty Vaughn. But next. You have the Council of Comics, our guys over there. Awesome. We've had them on our show here. Great guys. Go check them out as well. Then after that, it's us as well. But then you got our guy, 22 Comics over there doing the alternatives. Check him out for sure. Awesome guy. Great laugh. Amazing community member. All these guys are. And then you're going to wrap it up with our guy, Cup of Comics, Cuppy, over there doing a Monday Night Raw. So thank you so much again. Truly appreciate you all. Do yourself a favor. Follow all those gentlemen if you're not already, which is crazy. I can't believe you're not already. But anyway, again, thank you all so much. But Phil, let's say hello to this awesome chat that we got popping off here.
Oh my gosh. We're gone a week, and without fail, it's the StreamYard Duck that shows up time without fail. Welcome aboard, StreamYard Duck.
Quack, quack.
I've been calling my sister a mallard lately, but we'll talk about that later. Oscrucis was here at 4:33 and 7:16. And speaking of the devil, look who's in the audience.
Cuppy, what up, man?
And then, here's some foreshadowing. Someone named Siren 316, I wonder. And then we've got Dr. Von Hoot. Purveyor of one of the finest schools of dance on the planet, if I might add. Let's see here. Oh, look, Christopher Arnold is here. Welcome aboard, Christopher. Welcome back.
Gotta get you on the show too, man.
Yes. Actual Dracula, except no substitutes.
Drac, I hope you may have time to do an at-home edition. I miss you, brother. I miss you.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. In
Yeah,
fact,
but let us know if you're going to. But if
Yeah.
not, I understand.
also, I talk about her skills as an inventory specialist and a marketing analyst, but she's also just fun to hang around. Ladies and gentlemen, Cindy Roskowski.
Hey, Mama, how you doing? Mama Rosko in the building.
Let's see here. Moving on down the list. Oh, here's some fun people.
Moving on down this, Bobby
Delegato. And Doreen.
What's up, Bad Mike? What up, Doreen? How you doing?
Moving on down the list. Moving
on down the list.
It's not 22. It's not 24. It's 23 March.
What's up, March?
Is this what you meant by like shouting out the Monday Night lineup?
No. What I meant was like the guys from the Monday.
No, I know.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, yes. So. We'll confer. You still have sand in your beard or something. Okay.
But these are in-betweeners, though. These are the in-betweeners.
Yes. You're cracking me up. Yep. Oh, yep. My chicken laid an egg. Look at that.
Who's on your account?
Hello, Dolly. Oh, hello, Dolly. Okay. Notice that I catch myself singing. I all of a sudden get really quiet.
I know you.
And
were
bashful.
Like, hello.
Yes.
Oh.
Will Vlogs is here. Can I ask a question? This doesn't count. Will, you are learning. You are learning, young Padawan.
Oh, that's good.
Once he said, "Can I ask a question?" I said, "You just did."
But he didn't put a Q in front of it either. So
yes, you cannot do that.
You're
so
good.
okay. The answer to your question is yes. You can ask a question. Who else we have here? Oh, look, my flock.
Hey,
yes.
How you doing?
This is a new name. Do you know this person, Rosko? And either way, welcome aboard to the fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate being here. I'm not sure. Maybe it's someone for our guests. Maybe they are a friend of them. But yep, it is.
Oh.
What's up, Dad? Dad's in the chat. Nice chicken.
So I've got a question. If a rooster's on the top of a barn and he lays an egg, what side of the barn does the egg roll down? 50-50 chance of getting it right.
Whenever the wind's blowing.
No, roosters don't lay eggs. Next.
Oh, I didn't hear roosters.
Okay.
Yikes.
That's all right. Callie's here. He's working on his Be at Home. That's good. And can I use this opportunity to call out the topic? Is this a good segue to call out the topic of the week?
Sure. Yeah, you can put it up. Yeah.
Okay. Because bees is the topic of the week. And the only reason I say that is because Callie brought it up. So I'll keep that going. Let's see. Who do we have next? Well, I thought I felt a tingling in my basement. The power of the fills got stronger in this room.
The power of the fills. Oh, man. The Council of Fills is going to be here.
I think there's 4 fills that I'm aware of now. I brought this up on my show. There's Phil-tastic, there's myself, there's Phil Ailing, and there's also a Phil on the Council of the Fills, which makes 4. So, and Trev, you came up with a perfect, I don't know if he's in the chat, but Trev came up with the perfect name for that show if we were all together on the YouTubes. Anyway, let me move on down the list.
Get your holes filled with Phil. No.
Well, Boar.
Hey. Well, Boar, what's up?
He's not. Is he laying a guest host? That's funny. All kinds of laying jokes, aren't there? Maybe I'm getting laid. Who knows?
I like his eyes. So.
Live on YouTube. Yeah.
Anyway, he looks very angry. What am I doing here? Get me off this guy's head for sakes.
Maybe I'll just do the show like this all night. Never mind.
Oh, there you go.
That's enough comedy jokes. Okay, look, it's Aaron, aka Noran Rad, aka Rad Art and Comics.
What's up, Aaron?
Fabulous previous guest of ours in the not too distant past. I was going to say distant future, but that doesn't work. Who else do we have? Well, that's all I see. So we'll end with a bunch of smiles.
Excellent.
And I can't let this go unrecognized.
Oh no. There it is. New show.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop concentrating on the chicken hat comments. Is it time to do that thing that we got to do before the real show can start?
Yeah, I think it is time for that thing. But if everyone wants to, like what Vogs just started at, start asking questions. Make sure you put a Q in front of it. And again, the theme is bees. I'm excited, but we're going to talk to our guest, and he'll tell us why. But before we get to him, we have to play. You know what we have to play, Phil.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. The two of us, the two of us.
So love that song. Is that Grover Washington Jr.? Do you know?
Yes, I believe so. To be honest with you, I think that is right. But yeah, there's just so many more people I have to add to that now. And that being said, our guest tonight, Phil, do you want to introduce our guest tonight?
Yes, I had a long and I almost had a whole show with our guest before the show even started this evening. And I missed his first name. I only know him by his on-screen pseudonym, which is. Shall I bring him out, sir?
Yeah,
okay. Which is, it's interesting because it's a clever spelling. Siren 136.
What's up,
brought
man?
me out while I was laughing at that.
Is everything okay? Says your food server as you stuff your mouth full of food.
My first
how you
name's
doing,
Matt.
Matt? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate being on.
So tonight's theme is bees.
Bees.
Let everyone know why you chose. What's up, Scotty? Let everyone know why you chose this theme. And I thought it was a very unique theme, and I was like, that's cool because you said a couple other things, and I literally,
yeah, we were spitballing them.
that's all. That's up down my alley too. I'm like, Cartoon Network, easy, yeah. But then you said bees, and I'm like, that's pretty unique. So I to see what people have sent from home, if anyone's doing any. But again, I had a fun time doing it. So, but again, explain to everyone why you chose bees.
So I do a comic book. I write and draw a comic book called Beeswax. People in the community will know. They've seen it around from the shows. So I thought it'd be fun to do bees, just kind of tie into the theme. And now it's become a recurring thing that every time I join somebody's stream, there's like nonstop bee jokes. So I was like, well, you gotta lean into your kayfabe, right? Like I gotta keep it going. So I figured I would just keep with the momentum.
Awesome, man. That's great. Yeah. I gotta get going on mine. I'm a little behind on mine, but I'm getting there. So yeah, I'm excited, man. This is great. But I am going to ask you a question before we get to, because I see a lot of questions already popping up in the chat. But I always like to ask this: what food do you hate?
What food do I hate? I don't eat any food.
You like everything?
I don't eat food.
Oh, you don't eat food?
Mm-mm.
Do you drink food?
Yeah.
You drink?
What do you drink?
Is it like Phil?
Oh, I drink Soylent.
Yeah, that's it. Literally that and water. That's all I have.
Oh wow.
Okay, so you hate everything.
Everything, I guess. Yeah. I like food, but like I feel like it's such a medically I just can't right now. I'm clinically anorexic, so I have like a condition with my esophagus that just prevents me from getting food down. But I always felt like it was weird because it's like a mandatory thing, Like if you don't enjoy eating, you just have to do it. You can't get around it. Right. So this kind of ended up being slightly convenient. Besides the, when you want warm food, you can't have it because all you do is drink. But it's nice.
I think you and Phil just became best friends. By the way.
We're both on the no food train, huh?
Well, I'm on the 80% no food train.
That's great.
It's good.
Okay.
I mean, like, I'm probably the healthiest I've ever been in my life once I stopped eating food. Outside of like fighting shape, like I used to fight in tournament a bit,
Oh, wow.
so that I was probably maybe in better shape then, but it was a lot of like cutting down on a lot of food. So I think liquids is pretty solid. I drink nothing but water, and then you've got this, this has, what does it have in it? 360 calories, 14 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals per serving. So
Hey,
I drink a bunch of these a day, so it gets me, pretty stay in pretty good shape.
that's what's up. Yeah. Phil likes the Soylent, right? Phil has.
Well, I could wax poetic for a long time. All I'll just say is I got so tired of label reading and counting calories and doing all of the menu planning and the blah, blah, blah. I just wanted something that was healthy and low thought.
I hear you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Nice.
Anyway.
Phil, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I'll ask the long form one. You are given $300 gift certificate to your favorite art supply store. What are you buying?
$300 for my favorite art. Oh, this is hard. So the art supply store I normally go to if I'm here in Tennessee is Jerry's Artorama. It's like a big art store. Or if I'm back home in Louisiana, I go to Moe's art supply store. That's like they're kind of the same thing, but different names. If I'm going $300, it's one of two things. I know right away. I'm trying to think of which one it is, but it's either, if it's in Tennessee, it's $300 worth of Pascas, because I could live on, this is just one box of them, but I could live on Pascas. So probably $300 in Pascas if I'm in Tennessee. If I'm back home in Louisiana, it's a $300 fountain pen all day, no questions. I love
Fountain pen. Oh,
Fountain.
interesting.
I keep fountain pens like always on hand, and use them like in my everyday life. I use them to sketch. So
That's what's up.
yeah. So if I was in Louisiana where the store actually carries fountain pens, because my local one does not anymore, I just buy another expensive fountain pen. It's a problem.
What is the most expensive? Let me put it another way. What's the most you'll pay for a nice fountain pen?
It depends on.
I know nothing about them.
A lot. I would say like high 4 digits. It just depends on what my disposable money is at that time. Right? Like I wouldn't go and buy an expensive fountain pen if I had other things to take care of.
Sure.
I don't do it irresponsibly, but yeah, I would say like I have no problem if it's like a $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 fountain pen. If I have the money, I'll buy it. Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. What's going on? Wait a minute.
Fountain pens go way higher than that. You can get fountain pens for like $50,000.
So, but I assume I can't believe I'm going to ask this. I assume these are refillable.
So they're cartridges. I can actually show you. Do you want to see? I'll show you a more expensive pen. Hold on.
Sure.
I'm showing you like my cheap everyday pen when I have a little bit more. I'm not going to break out anything crazy. This one's like, you pay like $200-$300 for something like this. This is a Coeco Lilliput pen. So this is the limited edition Blue Flame version. The cool thing about this pen particularly, so it all screws into itself just like the other one I was just showing, but the patina on this, try to get the camera to focus, they're all unique to the owner because the oils and salts on your hands react to the paint. So nobody will ever have one like yours. So I'm going to show you how it loads. So you just unscrew this front part here, and that is a cartridge of ink that snaps in, and you just pop that in, screw it back in, and you've got a ready to go fountain pen. And then you can change those out as much as you want to different inks. And
so so if you're spending that much on the pen, is it safe to assume you're not throwing some bargain basement ink in there?
Well, so it depends. The funny thing is there is some cheap inks, like, cheap is relative, obviously, but there's some less expensive inks that are really nice. So it depends on what you like, because pens, it's going to be the style of the pen, like how it feels to you and the visual. Inks, is so much more varied because it's the wetness, it's how quickly it dries, it's how much the ink spreads on different types of paper. You know, you're going to look at a lot of different aspects when you're shopping for your cartridges themselves. Or if you're buying ink, you could load it eyedropper style. You can load it just directly into the pen itself and skip the cartridge.
Okay.
So if I pull, I'll show you on this one. If I take this cartridge out, this is hollow. I can fill this directly with ink and put a little bit of lubricant around the seal so ink doesn't drip out. You can seal it like this, and then this will all be filled with your ink, and then you can use it that way. That's called the eyedropper method.
Interesting.
So you kind of have variable options. Cartridges can range. So sorry, I went so far off track of that.
No.
Your cartridge prices can range pretty far. You can go for a 6-pack of Coeco cartridges, which I think I might have some laying next to me.
This is fascinating.
Coeco cartridges, you can get about 6 of them. I don't have a sealed set, but you can get 6 of these sealed cartridges for like $3 for like nothing. I like, this is Paradise Blue. This is like a very light blue. I like that one. It's not like my favorite ink per se, but I like it for my like daily driver. You know, that's what I'll carry in the pen that I carry in my pocket. You also have stuff if you want to get a little bit more expensive. This is Kujaku. This is a Pilot Iru ink. So this is a Japanese ink, and this is significantly more pricey than the $3 for 6 cartridges. This you're gonna buy a bottle, and it's probably gonna cost you like $50 for like a little bottle of it. It just depends. You can get way more expensive if you want, something crazier. You can. Usually, I buy expensive inks for other people, and then I buy cheap inks for me. Like I'll use them, but I'm like, come on, am I gonna spend, $100 on a bottle of ink? I'm gonna need 10 of those. It makes more sense for me to buy the $3 one.
Yeah.
And then the Paradise Blue. So this is
neat.
This is sketched with that fountain pen, and this is the Paradise Blue ink.
Oh,
so
nice.
You can kind of see how that comes out on paper. The only downside to fountain pens is they're not waterproof. Like the ink on paper, like if you use a rollerball pen and you write something gets water on it, you can still see the writing. If a water droplet hits this, it'll ruin whatever's on the page. The ink will run. So you do have to deal with that a little bit if it's a concern for you. But to me, it's not an issue because my sketchbooks don't really. I'm not sketching in the rain or something. I'm not on the Titanic. I'm not worried about it.
Do you have a feeling either way on pocket protectors?
Pocket protectors. So I mean, look, if I needed one, I'd wear one. Okay. I wouldn't sweat it.
Good.
You don't need them. That happened with old pens because the mechanism to load ink could cause leaks in your pocket. That's not an issue. It's really with fountain pens anymore.
So now since we've talked about your the pen,
My obsession with fountain pens.
What paper do you prefer, or what medium do you prefer?
So paper wise, medium wise, I like doing brush pen to paper. Okay. Just to sketch and draw. Usually brush pen or fountain pen is where I'll end up. If I'm feeling really in the mood of doing full color stuff, then I will break out the Poscas on mixed media paper and do color pieces. But a lot of times I do a lot of black and white work, so it's usually going to be mixed media paper and then a brush pen or a fountain pen just to sketch, and that's the everyday. I like to get. I'll show you something really neat. This is going to be a whole interview of me just showing things off that I've spent money on, I guess. So these are really neat. I got these when I was back in Louisiana. Let me make sure there's nothing inappropriate. Okay. Had to make sure. So this has 7 different types of paper, all bound in this one notebook. And so what you do is you buy this, and then you can test each style of paper to see what you prefer. So you've got handmade recycled paper on the front. You've got more of a manila folder construction paper kind of feel. You've got the black felt sheets. I don't know if you guys ever messed with these.
No.
There's a normal paper that's got a lighter weight to it. This is a different colored A5. And then this is This is handmade non-recycled paper, if I remember correctly, in the back. So each of them have a different reaction with fountain pens. So you can kind of, like you can see here, if I just let the ink sit on the paper as I'm drawing something, it'll really just splotch out. And it's not easy to see on the camera because my camera is kind of garbage, but it's actually multiple shades. So if you use a fountain pen, your ink is not one color normally. It'll have flecks of like different little things in it, right? So if you're using a blue, you may have a blue that has like purples in it or golds in it or something, and you won't see it unless you put it on paper like this. And then when it splotches out, you'll get to see all these really rich and vibrant colors show up in the ink.
Wow, that's awesome.
Can
That is
that,
so dope.
so can that book also inadvertently or advertently be used as a catalog? So if you find a paper you particularly like, you can go back and order a bunch of that particular page.
you totally could. You pretty much, if you have an art supply store, I think that's the easiest way. Is you can go in, and go, hey, I really like this version of paper. You know what it is from your book, or you take it to a paper store and they can tell you what kind of paper it is if you don't know, and then you can just shop that style of paper. So you can certainly use it as a great way to test. I like to use it just to test fountain pens, because a lot of times if I meet people out and I'm like, oh, you don't use a fountain pen, especially adults. Like if you're a grown-up, I'm like, have you never used a fountain pen? What's wrong with you? Like, we're adults. We use fountain pens. You don't have to use roller balls anymore. And I'll show them mine. I'll pull out something, not super expensive. Yeah, but you pull out something like a $25 pen, a $3 pen, and a couple $100 pen, and you go, here's this good paper. Take the fountain pen and write on it, and it changes. When you start using fountain pens, it changes you. Like normal writing, like signing your name, is a task for me. Like with a rollerball pen, I hate it. With a fountain pen, I love it. It feels good. Like it feels expressive. It responds to your strokes. Like everything it makes it not a job to have to write things down. If I write a grocery list, fountain pen. I will not use rollerball pens.
Wow.
Like this is a disposable fountain pen. This is a Toyo blade. These are cheap. These are like $3 or something. You can throw them away. And I'll take this and like write down groceries, write down like if I have to write a note real quick to somebody, just write with this, toss it.
And based on my too many decades ago experience, what is it, pressing too hard that causes it to splotch?
Yeah, so the tines, which are the two pieces that do this on the fountain pen tip, on the nib itself, the more you put weight on them, the more they do this. And the ink runs down the tines to drop onto the paper. So normally at the very tip, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but the very tip, there's a little ball, basically, like a half on each side of the tines. So normally when you're holding it, the ink will run down to that ball and let you write with it. The harder you push, the more it separates that, the more ink will lay across the paper as you pull the pen. So, and it'll also mess up your tines. You also ruin your fountain pen. So, if you want to do like a calligraphy style, where you need these big broad strokes and not necessarily a certain size, you want to get what's called a flex nib. And flex nibs are meant to be like have heavy weight, so they flex the tines open, lightweight, so you get a tight line. You don't usually put a flex nib on things like this, like a normal writing fountain pen, like a business fountain pen, because the nibs come preordained to a size. So you get extra fine, medium, broad, and double broad. Okay. And that's kind of by what your line weight you want, you can do this, and then you can still press on it a little bit and get a little bit more, a little bit less, but you don't want to use it like a flex nib. If you really lean on it, your tines will bend out and you'll never get them fixed right. You'll just have to get a new nib.
Okay. Sort of like a bee stinger. Says
yeah, Bobby.
I was wondering, if you stab yourself with your fountain pen, does it leave the nib behind?
Yeah, the fountain pen dies. It's gone. Sometimes you have to harvest them. It's just, there's a lot.
So we are getting some questions from the audience, and I would encourage you to keep them coming, folks. But since we're on the topic, I'll get this one. Christopher Arnold asks, when did you first begin to appreciate the fountain pen? You kind of treat it like a rite of passage in a way.
Yeah. Not until I was an adult. When I was a kid, I really liked them a lot, but I couldn't use them well. I was using old fountain pens, calligraphy style fountain pens that you had to dip and then write. and it just I didn't understand the fine tunings of it. Kind of like art, right? Like a lot of times when you do art as a kid, you're doing like if now as an artist, if you see a kid doing art, you're like, I know what the problem is, right? Like, you know, they're leaning too heavy on the pencil. They're making like a basic shape, but they're not doing certain finer techniques because they don't know it yet. They don't appreciate those details. Normally, there's exceptions. And I feel like fountain pens were the same thing for me. It took me a while, probably like late 20s, early 30s kind of thing, before I was like, okay, like I really enjoy the fountain pen. I understand it. I got my first one that I actually used, that I carried with me all the time, was right before, I think, December of last year. I picked up like my everyday carry fountain pen. My grandmother, who raised me, passed away, and I went back home for her funeral and to help get her belongings, all kind of to take care of everything. And while I was down there, the Moe's Art Supply in Baton Rouge, Louisiana had fountain pens. And I was like, oh, my grandma liked fountain pens. She used them. I was like, oh, I always wanted one of these. I'm going to get one because, you know, it's just a nice, like, memory to have something to bring back and say, you know, she liked this. And even if I didn't use it, I could just put it aside and go, you know, this was from when she passed away. And I used it every day, constantly. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And I just stopped all roller balls. You know, I was using a mix of them before that, but I never went to full fountain pen only and never touching roller balls. So that was kind of last year-ish was when I really like took the full plunge and was like, I'm not going to use roller balls ever. If I go to a doctor's office and they're like, oh yeah, can you sign your name? That, you know, they have the little disposable Bics. I pull a fountain pen out of my pocket and sign their paperwork. I'm like, nope. I do not like using roller ball pens. They're not fun for me.
Man. You know Frank Cho, right? Is it Frank Cho who does all ballpoint?
Yeah, I think so. There's also a local artist here, Mr. Mike. I wish I could think of his last name. It's gonna escape me. I'm gonna have to Google it while I'm talking. He does comics. He did a comic with Jay Lee, and oh,
cool.
He does only ballpoint only rollerball pens as well, I think. And it's very like I wouldn't even know how to describe his artwork. It's fantastic. His name's Michael Alexi, I think is his full name. Maybe is that correct? Yeah, Michael Alexi. So he does these big murals, but he does this like such a crazy style with pens, like these old I'm trying to think what they were printed in. There's like these old, almost newspapery comics that would do these like really heavy rollerball, like lots of lines, really, really busy art style to it. I don't know how to describe it very well. I'm sorry. But he does work like that, and it'll blow your mind. He just had a gallery showing not long ago. He's phenomenal guy, great person.
Nice.
Okay. To be or not to be?
I gotta check him out. You gotta send me. He has an Instagram, right?
Yeah. You want me to send you his Instagram?
Yeah, send me his Instagram, man.
All right, I'll send it to you. I don't know how much he checks it. I'll be honest with you. I talked to him in person.
Okay. I got you.
So I don't know how much online he does. I'll send you his.
Right.
He works at a comic book store. He like helps out, bags and boards and stuff like that. But he's very like, he's kind of like a hippie-ish kind of guy, I guess you would say. I don't know what you would call it. But he's very like, he likes riding bikes. He likes being outside. He goes outside and like just wants to like sit in the grass and get sunshine. And he's like that kind of guy. You know, he just enjoys like the world. Very happy guy. And he just draws. I just sent it to you on Instagram. If you can look at that and tell me what that art style is, I'd appreciate it.
I have to check that out.
W. Vogs. So is it to be? Oh, it's definitely the second one. It's definitely to be or not to be. Has to be.
Good answer. Had a lot riding on that one.
Yeah.
Your favorite movie with a ninja in the title?
Favorite movie with ninja in
or I shouldn't say a ninja, with ninja in the title.
Ninja in the title. It's so hard because all my favorite ninja movies don't have ninja in the title. I'm trying to think of what does. I guess the classic TMNT movie would be good. The 90s TMNT movies that's probably on par. Just in the heat of the moment, that's gonna be today. I'll say that.
Do you have a favorite turtle?
That's tough. So I always liked Raphael the most. I was probably more Michelangelo when I was a kid, but Raphael from like teenager onward, everybody was like, if you're a turtle, that's you. You suck. You know, like but I think that's probably people probably that don't know me a lot are gonna say Mikey, but I think Raph's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Nice.
I never thought about your favorite turtle changing as we grow.
Yeah, things get. I'm very introspective. I like to like the things I like. I want to see how it correlates to like the cognitive function in my brain. You know, and like what part of my personality traits am I attributing to this thing that I like? Because there's something in it that you see that gives you that feeling that you're really attached to it. So I really go way too deep into stuff like that. So
All right, next up from Cindy, Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, or Family Guy?
I'm gonna say Family Guy. I don't watch Bob's Burgers. I've never seen it. The Simpsons, I wasn't allowed to watch when I was a kid. My stepbrothers watched it. I didn't grow up with them, but I would see them watching it, and so I guess I never had that experience with it, like to have any kind of nostalgia about The Simpsons or really like watch it very much. But Family Guy, I got to see happen, so I would say Family Guy's probably.
Well, you should do yourself a favor and check Bob's Burgers out.
Check it out.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites of all time.
I'll have to watch it.
So we were talking earlier about Done with Solids. Do you have a favorite alcoholic beverage?
Not to promote alcohol or drinking. Crown Royal Apple is
boy.
I drink whiskey, like straight whiskey normally, but Crown Royal Apple, Crown Royal is a big thing in Louisiana. It's like a thing for our state. So Crown Royal Apple and cranberry juice was my drink forever. And I could if I drank, I don't drink really at all. Very, very rarely do I have any kind of alcohol. But if it's that, I could wake up and drink that all day. Like it just tastes really, really good.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it's delicious. You can drink it with Sprite. Like you could there's so much stuff you can do to it. That it tastes like you're drinking apple juice, like really good, like sweet apple juice. You can't taste the alcohol, so you get drunk. Really,
it sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. Or daiquiris. Last time I was in Louisiana, I did drink daiquiris a lot. So that's a Louisiana thing. I don't know if people know what that is.
I know what daiquiris are.
Okay, you know what daiquiris are. Okay.
Yes.
They're like snowballs with liquor. If people, for people that have never had them,
generally sweet, right?
Yeah, they're very sweet. They usually have like octane 190 in it, stuff like that. It's just a lot of liquor and a snow cone.
Okay,
basically,
also dangerous.
And then like a little bit of flavor. They're like, here's some strawberry, and then like 4 ounces of vodka, and you're like, oh,
that's an all new, different kind of Dairy Queen.
Yeah. The daiquiri shops. If you grew up, anybody in the chat, if they grew up in Louisiana, they know like daiquiri shops are everywhere. You've got one on like every 5 minutes on the street. So you grow up around that. Crown's the best. See?
Yeah. Honeybead. Oh, that's something I've always wanted to try.
That's so clever. I missed the opportunity. I think I've only had mead like one time, so maybe that's gonna have to be my new drink.
Okay. Back to film for a minute. Your favorite movie with bees?
Candyman.
Phil's. You said Candyman?
Candyman.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Wow. Absolute favorite. As soon as I said movie,
I was going to say I didn't have that done yet.
sorry.
Okay, favorite scene.
Favorite scene in Candyman. That's hard. I don't know. Yeah, we'd be here all day on that.
Or can you say like the elevator pitch? Why is that your favorite bee movie? Movie with bees.
I enjoy Candyman as a horror movie. Even though I don't think it's that scary, I like the idea, like the premise to Candyman. Especially this may be a little controversial, but moving into like the new requel version of Candyman that came out a couple of years ago, like 2022 or somewhere in that range. I liked how they kept it going, the franchise. I watched your 1, 2, 3, and then you have this new one drop. I think it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then the new one comes out, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. But the way they depicted horrible things that happened in the real world and how that the anger of these people kind of carried over into this urban legend of Candyman and how he's like manifesting that, and that's why he's doing these things, I thought was like a really powerful art statement. And the new movie is very heavily focused on art. So there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of actual art in the movie, but it's very heavy in symbolism. So if you're into like deep diving things like that, go back and rewatch all the old Candymans and then watch the new one, and you'll really get to enjoy a full ride through that experience.
That's cool. I'm gonna check that out. I like Candyman. That's cool.
It's so good. Candyman's such a it's not like so scary that you're like, I don't want to watch this all the time. I'm not a big horror movie person. It's not like so, I don't know what you would call it, like shock violence, if that makes sense. Like there's movies that like do things just so you'll be like, oh, like I can't believe they did this. You know, I'm not going to reference any titles. Yeah, like there's movies that'll do things just to make you go, oh my God, like who would put this on film? Or it's so grotesque and over the top. And you don't get that in Candyman. There's violence, but the underlying message to the movies, the underlying message to this villain is very powerful, and it speaks to real life trauma that's happened. You know what I mean? Like it's not just this throwaway thing. It's not Ghostface and it's like some kid who thinks horror movies are cool. So I like Ghostface, but you know what I mean? Like that's a parody movie, and it's just centered around like we like horror movies, we want to kill people, so we kill people, or you know, Michael Myers or whatever. These are things that wouldn't really occur. You may see people imitate that, but it's just coming from a place of they want to kill stuff, as opposed to Candyman, which came from a place of like we're being victimized, and the hatred around that is turning into something like is helping. I don't want to like waste a bunch of time. If people understand that, they understand it.
How old is that franchise? When did it debut?
The first Candyman movie came out in 1993, I think. I can Google it.
Okay. Well.
I feel like that was around the time. Maybe if I'm so far off, I'm going to feel terrible. 1992. Okay, so I was close.
Okay.
92 was the original Candyman. I was 2 years old when the original came out. I was born in 90. Hey, you got to appreciate movies from every generation. You can't...
1,000%.
Yeah. Sometimes we're just not fortunate enough to live through it like right as it's happening. The great thing is, for things like that, like, you know, Candyman was still big all the way through until the early 2000s. So I still got to enjoy like the peak of these movies happening without being there for the theatrical release.
Right.
So that was good. Sammy Davis Jr.
Gonna have that going through my head now. Thanks, Wilbur. Let's see here.
Go see Tony Todd at conventions. You know, like he's apparently a nice guy.
So speaking of kind of going back, growing up, do you have a favorite cartoon? Ask Cindy.
Favorite cartoon growing up. I like. Man, that's hard. I'm trying to think of a favorite. I really like Dexter's Lab a lot. I'm trying to think. It depends on the generation of my childhood. When I was like really young, I was traveling a lot. I was also sick, like a lot. I spent a lot of time in hospitals and not able to like go to school or do normal things. So a lot of times I was watching stuff that was like so far removed from what was actually happening at that time. Like Waterworld was still one of my favorite movies. And that was like, I was watching that as a kid on TV because it came on with antennas. You know, like you could put antennas on and adjust them, and it would come on like this public access channel or whatever. And I would watch that and I'm like, oh, this is great. But you know, other kids are watching like like I said, like Dexter's Lab or something. But Dexter's Lab is probably the favorite. Or like, you know, every kid liked Pokemon when it first came out. Yu-Gi-Oh! Those were great. Pretty much anything on Fox Kids, when Fox Kids was a thing. Toonami. Everything that came on Toonami was fantastic. You just kind of, as you're growing, you just kind of hit these different sections of it. So I would say Dexter's Lab probably was a big impact of young me.
Christopher Arnold comes in with the hard-hitting question: who wins in a fight, Western honeybee or Eastern carpenter bee? Please, no wagering.
Technically, I think Eastern carpenter bees are bigger. I'm gonna put my money on Western honeybee because I feel like we gotta stick up for our team. Yeah, that's gonna be my. I don't know if that's scientifically accurate, but I'm gonna go Western honeybee for today.
Final answer? Okay.
Yeah, final answer. Final answer.
All right.
Someone mentioned fight, so I had to play it.
Yeah, the segues are killing me. I wasn't expecting it. Then I heard it in my ears, and I'm like, "What's happening? Did I mess something up?"
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
You know, I think, Rosko, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is entirely you doing the noise, the sounds, right?
Is that really?
All the noises and all the voices, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I just kept recording different things over each one, and they all just kind of meshed really well. And I was like, "This works out great."
That's so funny. I love that.
That's one of my favorite clips of all time. Philtastic asks, what is the fanciest word you know off the top of your head?
Oh god, the fanciest word I know off the top of my head. I don't know. I don't really talk fancy unless I'm around my family. So I try to. My normal vocabulary is so low, but if I get around my family, I have to talk like fanciest word. Oh god,
Fanciest word?
this is so difficult.
Is there some weird art supply thing or brand name?
I'm trying to think. I'm so blanking right now. I'm gonna feel so stupid when I watch this back later.
You want to put this on? You want to put this on hold? You can, if it occurs to you.
Yeah, I'll come back to it.
Okay. That should be a new thing.
I'll like phone a friend. I'll have
the
to.
contestant gets to put one on hold for.
Put a motion to people off camera to tell me a word.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that.
At the top of your head, you're not supposed to think about it. So
that's true.
The only thing that came to my mind was onomatopoeia.
Yeah, you want us to wait so you can Google it?
Thing. So it's like, yeah, I need to Google like a way better answer. My answer
is like
you can Google something off the top of your head.
Let's put this one aside just for a little bit. Phil's like, we'll put this one aside here, even though it's at the top of your head. We'll wait for it.
We're gonna wait and come back to this.
Oh, I love it. Oh,
that's a hard question when you're like
great.
Just on the spot. I can't think of any big words now.
Well, okay.
Then my vocabulary is all 3-letter words now. My whole brain was just like.
So here's something from this guy in a treehouse. Wants to explain the origin of your moniker.
Explain the origin of my moniker. Of the Siren name?
Siren 136.
Okay, I didn't know if it was the beeswax thing or this. This is gonna be. Some of this is not. I'll explain some of it. Some of it's never been made public, so I don't know if I want to put the last part of it out there, but I'll put the main part out there because I've had this name forever. Like if you Google me, I'm the first 3 pages of Google. Don't do it, but if you did. I'm the first 3 pages. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. It's gonna bring up all kinds of old stuff you don't want to see. So the siren part, the PSYREN part, there was a manga in Japan called Siren. Briefly had some not really success in the US, but it came out, was a little, kind of had a little following for a while. I don't think it ever got like big. It wasn't a Naruto Pokemon type thing. And I really enjoyed it at the time I was reading it. And I was like, this is such a neat name, like the spelling of it and everything I really liked. I did a lot of graffiti as a teenager. And I was like, it's fun to write, like the letters PSYREN, like the shape of it really feels good when you write it all out. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this as my handle online. So I started using it a little bit. Like I still had a couple other names floating around, but I was like, I'm gonna use this, and it just kind of stuck. Like people started knowing me on different things from that name. The 136 part, maybe I won't explain so much. But it all, I mean, I can explain it, but it's
so
probably,
there's not 135 prototypes.
No. So it's actually, so I always tell people when I say it, I say Siren 136, right? But it's actually 13.6. It's actually I don't know if I should put it out there. So it's actually chapter and verse to something in the Bible, not religious. But there's a pretty good line that I enjoyed because of how I have to deal with people because of the way I look and things like that. Religious people tend to be pretty nasty to me, like just in daily life.
Yeah, look, you should see Phil when he goes out like that. No.
I bet you they're nicer to him.
Yeah, they just stay away. They don't talk to me.
Yeah. No, I get like the full harassment. I get the like, can you sit down and talk to me for 2 hours about Jesus because you need saving type speeches, and some people like that. That's not bad. I try to be respectful of those people, and I'm just like, I'm not interested, kind of thing. But there's some people who are like really like nasty about it and like want to argue. And I remember a guy came to my door one time, and he was like a working class guy. He was with some, I don't know, not Jehovah's Witnesses, but some kind of people going door to door. Like, have you found our Lord and Savior? They're holding Bibles. They're like beat up Bibles. They're really like reading it, right? I went to Catholic school, so I know chapter and verse really well to the Bible. So I was like, yeah, he was like, can we talk about the Bible? I was like, sure. I was like, look, I'm not Christian or anything, so our beliefs are going to be way different. But if you want to sit here and do the spiel, I'll sit here for it. He was like, okay, let me at least try. Like, sure, go ahead, evangelize, do your thing. We have a conversation. I'm letting him talk, and I'm like, okay, thanks. And he's like trying to give me like pamphlets and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Like, I'll let you do. I was respectful. I told you if you want to do your spiel, I'll let you do the thing. We can talk about the Bible, but I don't want none of the propaganda material. Like, you can keep that stuff. And my kids were outside playing. And so he's standing, I'm in my doorway. My door's cracked. I'm in my doorway talking to him. He's outside my door, blocking from people being able to get in, basically, from the outside. And I hear one of my kids crying, like yelling all of a sudden, like they got hurt. So I'm like, I go to open the door, and he's still like trying to stand there and talk. And I'm like, yo, move, like now. And he's like, oh, no, like I'm just trying to. And I was like, no, bro. I was like, that's my kid crying. You're in my door. Move, or you're gonna get hurt while I go get my kid. Like, there's no two ways about it, because you don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Like, as a parent, you hear you're just trying to get to your kid. So me and him had a not great interaction there at the end, because I was just like, at that point I lose all, like, I'm gonna be level-headed, nice to you, and I'm just like, do you want to get punched in the face, or do you want to move out of my way? Like, you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna call the cops, I'm still gonna go get my kid. It's not gonna be great for you. So not the best life choices, but yeah, religious people aren't too fond of me. I've been I don't know, I probably shouldn't say it on an interview, but I've been a Satanist since 2005. Not the like we worship the devil kind, but like the actual kind. If anybody knows anything about real Satanism, and people know, like everybody around me knows that, but I try not to put it out on shows and stuff typically, just because some people do that a certain kind of way. They don't want it's not in the comics. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Religious views, I keep all that out of it. But me, the person, like, that's what I believe. You like God, cool, I respect that. Like, you just have to also respect how I view things.
Absolutely.
That's the way I see it. So the 136, that's all. It's just a reference to in Revelations 13:6 is a verse about he who blasphemes God. It's about being heretical. So it's just he uses his mouth to blaspheme God. He's doing all these blasphemous things, being a heretic. And I was like, oh, they wrote this about me, clearly, according to all these people I ran into. I thought it was funny if I included it, because people don't know it. There's no way to know that without somebody telling you. So when people see it, they're like, yeah, well, it's the 136. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just numbers, but this is first ever exclusive.
Exclusive. Here it is, everyone.
That's the
Yeah.
actual origin. So it is a Bible verse. Hopefully that doesn't lose followers.
Everyone just left.
Yeah, everyone's gone. The show's just over.
Well, not everyone. Madam just got here, and she asks, "When did you decide to sport the nose ring? What prompted it, if anything? And does stuff get caught in it?"
So
Hey, madam.
my full-time career is a body piercer outside of comics. This is actually all that's left of my piercings. I used to have 11 just in my face, like from chin up was 11 piercings. They do get caught in everything constantly. Not so much now. This is so much more tame. Before, oh, it was the worst. I would wake up and like the blanket would be stuck to my face, and I'd have to like unhook rings. Sleep.
Okay.
It's so bad. It's so bad when you have a lot of facial piercings. Just the septum though it's nothing. Like I just like it because I can like tug on it and mess with it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to get this re-pierced. It hurt. I mean, I've got a dermal implanted in the side, like my ears stretched, and I've got a couple other piercings, but I don't know if they're. I can't really show them on YouTube.
Okay.
We got to switch over to a different site. Between the Lines, new edition.
Man, you and Phil have so much in common. It's insane.
That's why I have to wear a hat.
I got you.
I have my skull pierced, like Steve Martin. Let's see here. Here's a classic from Dr. Von Hoot himself. First concert, worst concert, best concert.
Oh, so I don't do concerts anymore. I haven't in a long time. They messed with my anxiety really bad for some reason.
Oh.
First concert, it was some country show. I honestly don't know who it was. It was like my dad and my aunt, and I was in the back of a pickup truck, and I was just really tired and didn't want to be there. So I don't know what show it was. I'm sorry. It was some famous country person. I don't listen to country music, so I'm not familiar with who it was. Yeah, who knows, right? I should look at the bodies, maybe if there was a killing there, it was a Garth Brooks show. That's a deep cuts joke. I don't know if people know that. I don't Google it. It's there's a theory out there. Worst concert, and then best concert. Was that the order?
First concert, worst concert.
Worst concert, best concert. Worst concert. I don't know if I've had a bad one, to be honest. Like I think worst is just like times when you go and like there's other stuff going on. I've never went to a show and been like, oh, this show sucked. I've always had a good time at shows. It's just other things in life that suck. You get there and you're exhausted, or like you get thrown out, something happens. I've been bounced out a couple of shows for like fights and stuff. So maybe those are worst, I guess.
The concerts you didn't get to finish were the
yeah. Like I've never had like a crazy experience where something like really awful happened. I usually have pretty good time.
Fights are nothing,
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on your show, right? Like if I was at a Taylor Swift show and I got in a fight, that's a different story. But
I got
that's
at a Taylor show.
Yeah. If you're going to like
people on my
shows.
way, but I'd leave.
No, like there's shows where like you can fight and it's not like a huge deal. Like if you go to like small like punk shows and stuff, like people expect it. It's not a big deal. Best concert. This is gonna be hard. I got to see the Misfits live. When I think I was like 18, and they came down and played. That was pretty sick. That was a pretty powerful show. And then Jerry Only he like came out in the crowd. He's like standing in the middle of everybody doing autographs, like talking to people. And I didn't have any paper on me. I was like, I gotta get his autograph. I didn't have any paper, but I had my daughter, my oldest child, wasn't born yet, but I had her ultrasound. So I like handed him this ultrasound. He signs it and he flips it over and he was like, "Is this an ultrasound?" He was like, "Who handed me this ultrasound?" I'm like, "That's me." Like, so my daughter's ultrasound in her baby book in my closet has Jerry Only's autograph on the back of it.
That is wild.
So that's probably the best one.
And a good baby picture joke, or not
yeah,
joke,
it's
story
solid.
for her.
Yeah, it's a good run.
Yeah.
Did you sign it with a fountain pen?
He signed it with like a huge Sharpie. Like it's a thick signature. It was like, you can't read it. It's just like a bunch of lines. And you're like, yeah, I know what that says.
You know what it says.
Yeah, if you follow the music, you know who signed it.
So let's see. Still got a respectable number of questions here. Here's one from 23 Mach. Favorite villain and superhero?
I'm just gonna get all hard questions. I feel like favorite villain is. I'm trying to think of who I like the most. I like Hellspawn a lot. He was the main villain in Wildcats.
Nice.
I like. I'm gonna say that's probably the direction I would go from like a classic villain standpoint. No, I'm such an idiot. Two-Face. It's Two-Face by far. Never mind. Ignore everything I said before that. It's Two-Face. I like Hellspawn, but it's Two-Face. I don't know why it wasn't my immediate response. It's so Two-Face.
Rewind the tape.
I have a Two-Face tattoo across the back of my arm.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's
animated series.
Absolutely one of my favorite villains of all time. I think because I don't think of him as a bad guy most of the time. So when I hear villain, I never think to be like, oh yeah, Two-Face, because I'm like, he's not really a villain. He's just kind of the coin's the bad guy, you know? If it shows up bad, it's on the coin. He's not doing anything wrong. Superhero.
So
I'm gonna get killed on the superhero one. So single superhero by themselves, not a team, is probably Static Shock. Milestone, like original Static Shock. Absolute favorite single character. If it's a team, it's either Wetworks or Wildcats. Like far and away, not even close. But I think if you take one character out of Wildcats or Wetworks to have like as just a superhero, I don't think it's as impactful as the team. So if we're talking singular, it's Static Shock all the way. But if we're talking teams, it's Wildcats or Wetworks, 100%.
Do you have a favorite run of Wildcats?
The original is my favorite for sure. The like version 3.0 Wildcats was kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Like I like all of it, but the original is the one that I came up on was like, this is blowing my mind. You know, Jim Lee and Brandon Choi is just, that was my favorite. The new one was good too. Not my favorite, but it was good. And then Wetworks, the same thing. The original run of Wetworks was really good, and then they did one called Armageddon or something like that. They did one where the suits are out of control later that Wills wasn't a part of.
Is it like a crossover with all the titles, maybe?
No, it was. God, I wish I could think of. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm not going to pull out my box. I'm going to look on my computer. They did one where basically they're infected. Like the gold is like sick, and mutagens. Wetworks mutations. That's what it is. But the gold is sick, and it's like causing all these problems, and they become like more monstrous. It's not as like just clean as it was before. Christopher E. Long and Kevin Graveau, I guess is how you say his last name, were the writers on that, and the artist was Julius Gopez. If we're talking like past the originals, I thought that was phenomenal for Wetworks. I just liked it. It was just innovative. I thought it was just a neat thing that they did. It almost made them look like, almost like how Top Cow does. You know, like how the Top Cow productions like Witchblade and Cyberforce, how they have like the more spiky metallics. It looks more like biomech, like horror kind of stuff. So Mutations kind of did that to the gold armor of the Wetworks characters. So I don't know, I thought it was neat. Sorry, I give like too long of an answers for
No, that's okay.
You're good.
That took me down some memory road there. I was a big fan of later.
Oh, you like the later stuff?
From Joe Casey specifically, I think the 3.0 and that
the 3.0, yeah.
But that was also when I was introduced to it. So
So you caught it. That was your original Wildcat.
Yeah.
See, I have all of it. I have everything. But like the original is kind of where I came from. Like I liked the animated Wildcats, the comic Wildcats Adventures, and the show was great to me. The Spawn crossover stuff, everything they did, I love. Like anything they put out, I'll devour. Like literally this wall over here, you can't see it, but it's behind the camera, is Wildcats figures on card, Wetworks figures on card, and the Max figure on card. And then I've got the whole 3.0 Wildcats team box set up on that side.
Wow.
Everything Wildcats, I've got it. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I've got 3 long boxes of like under this bed back here. and it's 2 of them. There's just Wetworks and Wildcats stuff. And people they'll go, oh, I have all the Wildcats books and their collections, this big, or it's respectable. But I'm like, that's not everything. Like, you say you have everything. That's not everything. I have everything. Like, every variant, newsstand, everything. Like, I will, all of it. I have Jim Lee signed copies. I have Brandon Choi signed copies. I've got Portaccio signed copies. I've got Jay Lee signed copies, remarked copy, like everything. I devour it. It's my favorite. It's the only thing I collect. So I try to be really, I don't collect other books if I can help it. Marcus thought it's Wetworks number 1 was going to make him rich.
Yeah. Still could be a film deal. You never know.
You never know.
Could get options.
There's some Wetworks books that have a little money to them, but nothing that's here's a funny story. A guy that I know, another vendor, I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants it out there, but he got to meet Portaccio at a show, right? And he's also a huge Wetworks fan like me. And he goes to Portaccio, and Portaccio's like, "What do you want me to do?" And he's like, "Hey, Brandon," he was like, "I want you to do a remark for me." And Portaccio's like, "Okay, who do you want?" He's got the comic in his hand. He's got his pen. He's like about to draw, right? He's like, "I want Grail." And Portaccio's like, sits there and nothing's happening. And then Portaccio looks at him and he goes, "Who's Grail?" And he's like, he's like, "I'm crushed." He's like, "I'm just visibly like I don't know what to do." And he was like, "From Wetworks." And Portaccio looks at him and he goes, "I don't know how to draw him." And he's like, "What do you mean? That's your character." And he was like, I just don't draw him much. He's like, "I don't know." Like, I would have to look at it to draw it. Like, he just didn't have the muscle memory anymore at that point because, you know what I mean? He did that run, and then he's done all this X-Men stuff. Like, if you wanted Bishop, he could probably draw you a Bishop with his eyes closed, right? But you ask him for a Wetworks remark, at least back then, apparently it wasn't a good go. He didn't know. He needed a reference.
Wow.
So I always thought that was funny as a Wetworks fan to go to Portaccio and be like, look at your greatest image hit. And then he can't draw it for you.
Wow.
Oh. I got a question for Rosko here from Kelly. I need a referee.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they don't really like that too much. But hey, if it's a question, we usually ask it.
The gum. I'm going with the gum.
Okay.
All day.
And I think this is the thing that started it all.
Boxers, briefs, or boxers or commando. Boxers, like, if you have to go somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to go commando, like, to go to the store.
Travel? Okay.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to sit in my car for 12 hours commando. Like, that's miserable. But, like, if you're at your house with somebody, I'll go commando. It makes it a little more fun for everybody. Okay. But boxers the rest of the time.
Also,
not
from
for
now
everybody.
On, also, from now on, Kelly, you have to put 2 Q's in front of your question. I'm just teasing.
I'm surprised Madam didn't add thong in there.
I love that.
So, Aaron asks Stallone, Van Damme or Chagall?
Probably. I would say now, 2024 me would stay Stallone, but 90s kid me is going to say Van Damme. I don't like Seagal at all. I think he's not a good person.
He's hilarious to watch.
He's funny to watch for sure. But he's like, he's mean to people for like no reason though. And I don't like that. You know, like he hurts stunt people on purpose and things like that. Yeah, he's very known in like in that community. Like if you know anybody that works in like Hollywood stunt movies back then, if you told him, if you were a stunt person, you told him like, yeah, I did martial arts. Like I'm, you know, like if you were a trained person, he would go out of his way to hurt you, to be like, look how much like stronger and tougher I am than you. And you just, that to me, like that's not martial arts. Like I did martial arts, I fought in tournament, and like that's not, you like, don't go out of your way to hurt people to show that you're better at martial arts than somebody
like
else.
Anti-martial arts in a way.
Yeah, there's no discipline there. I would rather you tell somebody, no, like I don't fight. Like I'm a weak person, and if something happened, you come out the stronger person. that shows me more discipline than you like being tough and trying to pick on people who are getting paid to be there. So Seagal I'm not a fan of. I don't like his attitude. I want happy, helpful people around me.
He's a goof.
So also from Aaron, do you have a favorite horror icon?
Candyman. Does Candyman count?
Mm,
Is that
If
I would
hey,
think
I-
so. Why not?
Okay, well.
it's your call.
if I'm calling it, it's Candyman, but I know like some people like horror icons is like very specific to like it being Leatherface, Michael Myers, the Ghostface, you know, like those, like there's a certain trifecta of movies that they really count. So
Yeah,
if it's me, that's what I'm putting. But if it can't be Candyman, then I would probably say I really like Leatherface. I don't know why. I don't watch a lot of Leatherface like Texas Chainsaw movies or anything, but I like the design a lot, and the art surrounding his whole world I think is really interesting compared to the other characters.
I enjoyed the newest one.
The new
last
one
that
is
came out.
fantastic. The one where the guy has his phone. Oh, well, spoilers if anybody hasn't seen it. But if the guy pulls his phone out in the bus and he was like, "You're so gonna get canceled." He's like, "Ugh," and hits him with the chainsaw. I was like, "This is the greatest movie ever." Like, you just put that scene in anything, and I'm buying tickets. Like,
That's funny.
so good.
I just, you know what? It's funny. I just watched something last night, and it was Russell Crowe in the Pope's Exorcist.
Okay.
And some Exorcist stuff is like it's wild, like some of it's too wild for me. But this was no lie, this was actually a good movie, and I was like, huh, okay.
I can't watch
enjoyed it.
exorcism stuff. I can't
I'm
watch
sorry.
supernatural horror.
I missed that. Was that the latest one you said?
Yeah,
The
Texas
Pope's Exorcist.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's the latest one. I don't know.
Let's see here.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, exorcism stuff. I don't like. I hear it from a lot of people who are raised Catholic, but like it just doesn't work for us. Like if we see it, we're like, ooh, like it just gets too close to home, I guess. I don't want to. I cannot do it. I can't watch. I watched The Right like by accident. Really, I shouldn't have watched. I was like, oh, Anthony Hopkins, and I put it on, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep for a month. I shouldn't have watched this. Like
Right.
that and Mirrors, bro. I watched Mirrors, and like I know it's not real, but for some reason I get real hesitant. If I watch the movie, I'm like, I gotta start like ducking to go around Mirrors.
Yeah, it's just kind of the ideas
It gets in your head.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Creep
I don't
around.
like that. Yeah.
Those are kind of my favorites, but then I also hate them for that very same thing.
Exactly. My friends liked a lot of like really, really dark stuff. I mean, I did too when I was younger, like really like messed up kind of movies. I'm not going to name them because I know people will Google them and I don't want to give those movies any more credit. But there's some like really like messed up films out there. And like that used to be our thing, was just watching like stuff like that. And I feel like putting that stuff in your world, like in your orbit, it doesn't benefit you at all. You know, like if you carry yourself happy, even if you're depressed or something, and you just have that energy all the time, you feel a little better, and like things around you seem to be okay. And when you put a lot of that kind of like really bad, just to be bad kind of stuff in there with no real direction to it, it's just like, we're just gonna make something messed up because we can. Like, you want to see a baby get decapitated, like, you know what I mean? Like things like that have no plot purpose. They just do it to make you go
Shock
like
value.
Yeah, like to make you grab your pearls kind of thing. I don't like having that in my head or in my orbit at all. I'd rather just keep that stuff away from me.
True.
Okay, next up we have, and maybe you touched on this, favorite comic. Do you have a favorite comic character? We asked favorite hero and villain, but maybe
favorite comic character. If it's singular, I'm gonna say Static Shock again.
Okay.
Just because it's one character. If it's teams, it's Wildcats, you know?
Yeah.
Wetworks is a close second. But yeah, I think just favorite in comics, at least in the superhero genre of comics, Static Shock and Two-Face are like really up there, like worlds apart from everybody else in my book. If it's just comics in general, like we count everything in the comic globe and not to a genre, I really like Archie comics. Like I really loved Archie digests when I was a kid that you could get at the grocery store, you know, like the little small, like thick books of all the strips. I really enjoyed that. So I really have a soft spot for Archie and that whole crew. And then like if you go into Japanese genres of their version of comics and mangas and things like that, there's probably way too many to name. I think you have to when you look at comics as a medium, you know, when we think comics, it's usually superheroes, but like comic covers so many things that I feel like you have to go to a genre to be able to answer things like that because the scope is so broad.
Yeah, it could be, you know, Western. There's even romance comics right now. I'm thinking of is it Tom King who does that? I can't remember.
So much out there. Mm-hmm. But like I said, Static Shock and Two-Face are worlds above everything else as far as I'm concerned. But the more you go into diversifying what you're defining as comics, and the more you go like to a genre specific thing, I think my answers would shift based on that.
So we got a bunch here from. Oh, okay. I'm going to rattle off a few here from Aaron, Red Art and Comics. Speaking of Wildcats, Grifter or Warblade.
Grifter.
And Zealot or Voodoo.
Voodoo. Oh, yeah, Voodoo.
Okay.
that's way harder, but Voodoo's a New Orleans.
It's the engineer. What was her name? Actually,
Void?
she came along. Was that it?
Void is the all metallic suit with the human face, and she.
Yeah.
All right, wait, I can show you.
She's coming to film, I believe.
Is she? She's got her new look from the last run of Wildcats is so different than what she was in
the Wild.
Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I hope that didn't show up on camera. I accidentally the cover.
I didn't. Yes, that.
Yeah, that's Void.
Yeah, that character is coming to the screen, I believe, in something.
For anybody who's like a weirdo Wildcats fan like me, this binder is the complete collection.
Oh, that's neat.
Of all of the Wildcats cards and the Wildstorm universe cards. It's everything they put out.
Wow.
So I've got all the little foils of everybody. Weatherman 1 is in there.
What company made those? Metal?
I don't know who made this version. Let me see. I don't know if these actually say. These were Aegis Entertainment yeah, it looks like Aegis Entertainment is what it says on here. So these hollows were the set 1 run of the Wildstorm Productions versions. They have Brass, they have Mr. Majestic, Imp, everybody from Wildcats. They've got everybody. So, and then you've got the classic Wildcats cards, and these are the ones everybody kind of seen. I feel like the most. They've got all your covers, your action scenes.
Are those 90s?
Yeah, those are all 90s.
Glorious 90s.
Yeah, man, it's so good. Like I don't know. For me, I mean, I guess everybody feels that way about whatever they came up with, maybe. But
you talked about Archie earlier. I just wanted to point out Circumstances has a fanfic page.
Oh God, we don't like that.
I'm just teasing.
Archie, don't ruin Archie for Circumstances.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
People are gonna start asking just Wildcats.
Yeah, this is it. It's the Architect in the new Superman movie.
Oh, okay, different character.
What was it called? The Wild, 2 words. The Wild Storm was kind of, I don't want to say a reboot, but Warren Ellis did that right as he was kind of falling out of favor. And I thought that kind of, I don't know, was kind of a nice encapsulation of how he would have rather told it back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, he had an interesting go on it. I think his big contribution to all of that world was the Authority, right? Wasn't that all his? Yeah.
Yeah, he started the Stormwatch 37, and then and then that led into the
Yeah.
Authority.
Yeah, the Authority still is. I mean, in the new Wildcats, it comes up. Yeah, there's still characters that are actively used, unlike everybody else in the universe. So you get to see Zealot and Grifter every once in a while, but everybody else is just gone.
Always liked Grifter's costume.
So good. It's very well designed. I have the original figure and the McFarlane Grifter up on the shelf over there. I don't know who I have on this side. I've got Pike, Hellspawn, and Voodoo on this side. Had to lean out far enough to be able to read the box.
So, superhuman strength, telekinesis, flight, or invisibility?
I feel like from a practical standpoint, I would want invisibility. Flight is nice, but I'm scared of heights. Superhuman strength is like, it's good, but what if it like is all the time? You know what I mean? Like if you're Superman, you don't have a good control over it. I don't want to like kill my cats trying to pet them or, crush my child or something. Right?
Yeah. Tearing doors off hinges.
Yeah, it just might be impractical. Telekinesis is neat, but I just think invisibility has so many uses. I would just want to like go invisible and hang out places. You're like, oh, Jim Lee's in some studio, and I'm like, oh, well, guess I'll hop on over there and see what he's doing today.
Yeah,
it would get real weird. Don't give me invisibility, but I just think you would have so much access, kind of like how the internet gives you access to all this information in the world. Invisibility gives you direct access to all the people in the world. So,
you ready to sing, Rosko? Rosko, you ready to sing?
What am I? Oh, sugar, burn. Oh, honey. Hey, sugar, please appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Grifter is a babe. There's something about that mask.
He's been in the lyric. I gotta do a Grifter cosplay one day. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be in the booth just with the face bandana.
I think flight is kind of an interesting thing, but then I think about how cold it would be.
And being up there at all, like storms, everything's what was that? They did that movie, right? Where all the kids were
the 3 kids where one of them was
he like went crazy.
Angry. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, a flight looks so inconvenient. Like
yeah.
That movie was
such a weird jackets and stuff.
If when something happened like that. Great movie. Chronicle.
Yeah.
That's the name of
yes, that's it. Where they fall in the hole, right? They find the powers down there. Or something.
If anybody hasn't seen that, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Go look it up. It's a fantastic superhero, supervillain.
Yeah, that was wild.
The promo stuff, the marketing for that movie was so beyond. Like they were so good at marketing it. They put those drone with costumes that looked like people on drones and then flew them around cities. Oh. So you seen a shadow of a person flying around and people were like recording it on their phones, putting it on the internet like, oh my God, like there's people flying. And that's all they did. So it got this huge internet buzz. And then they were like, actually, check out our new movie Chronicle. I was like, that's so smart because everyone's going to record somebody flying around. Yeah, so that was a good. They did a lot of smart things there.
Makes me want to dig that out again.
Just don't pull a Hollow Man. Oh,
yeah, that's funny.
Bacon my Kevin because I'm doing it. It's getting real weird if I get invisibility.
Favorite comedy?
Favorite comedy.
Speaking of invisibility.
Oh, favorite comedy. I like a lot of stand-up comedy. If we're talking like movie comedy, I'm trying to think of the last like really good comedy that I watched. I love a lot of old 90s movies. There's a bunch of good comedy out of those, but it's usually not comedy movies. Maybe Joe Dirt. I thought Joe Dirt was pretty funny. Sometimes I get stressed out and I'll put it on just because I'm like, it's so silly and just all over the place.
Joe Dirt.
I like things that are going to make me, like, that just have good energy to them. So I never like seek out comedy movies, I feel like, though. If I see them, I'll watch them. But if anybody's like, there's this new good comedy out, I'm like, I don't know about that. I like thriller movies. Like I'll go look for good thriller movies, but a comedy movie, it has to find you.
I agree. I don't have that many in my collection. I enjoy them, but I don't seek them out.
Men in Black had a lot of good comedy, and Wild Wild West, and they're not comedy movies, but the comedy in them is phenomenal.
The pen that makes, erases
Yep.
their memory. And yeah, there'd be a superpower, maybe.
That would be a neat superpower.
I don't know how you would describe that exactly. Is that a power of suggestion?
Mhm.
In a way?
Professor X kind of has that power, Like, he could do that to you if he wanted to. He doesn't have to use the little blinky device, but he's like shine his head a little bit and he leans down and you're like, what happened?
Huh?
Favorite comic artist? So
Top 3?
The first thing that comes to mind is Jim Lee, right? Always, like, he's just created so many things that I hold close to my heart that it's hard for me not to put him up there as my favorite. I like now, as an adult, I have like a more varied taste. The Omingos, so Chris and Chrissy Umingo. I hope I'm saying their last name right. I love everything they do. I think everything they do is gorgeous. Jolly Blackburn, which most people here are probably not going to know who that is. He has a longest running now, I think, independent comic on Kinzer and Company, and it's called Knights of the Dinner Table. It's about like a group of friends that play role-playing games together and like are into kind of geek culture. It's been running since the 80s. It started in Shaddus magazine, which was an old D&D mag, like fanzine kind of thing. Jolly, like, everything I hear about him, he's such a great person. I talked to him. There's a reference in issue 1 of my comic. There's a panel that references Knights of the Dinner Table, and actually, like, he's the only person I reached out for permission. There's 6 panels that are all like references, and he's the only person that I asked permission from. Because everybody else, I was like, I don't care if they want me to do it or not. But I messaged him because I was like, I respect you. Like, let me see if he'll be cool with it. Hopefully, he says yes. And not only was he like yes, but he was also like, oh, I hope your comic goes really well. And like he was just like a genuinely nice person. Yeah, and I've been reading that comic. I remember me and my best friend in middle school, and we're talking like 3rd, 4th grade or something, middle school, like early, right? Sitting in the library, and I would bring like say 6 issues of Knights of the Dinner Table with me. I would be reading them. I would give him some to take home that I'd read, and then when we'd go back to school, he'd give me the ones he read, and I'd give him new ones from my collection. That way, we were all caught up on it. And that was like single digits issues back then. And we're on issue like 311 now, and I still get it every time it comes out. It's a must buy. I'll stop eating just to get Knights of the Dinner Table if I have to. Like, that man deserves so much more like fame in his life than what he got. Anybody that plays, like, if you've ever played D&D, Vampire the Masquerade, any role-playing games, even computer role-playing games like MMORPGs, you're just into geeky movies or like real geeky culture, not the modern version where it's like the MCU kind of stuff. But if you remember getting picked on as a kid for the stuff you like, that kind of thing, or Satanic Panic, if that happened where you live, it happened where I lived. That kind of stuff is in the comic. Like, he gives you all this like just great value, and you'll see people that you know in your life, you'll put them to the characters in the comic. You'll be like, oh, this is just like, Brian's just like Jason that I hang out with. They act exactly the same. Your whole life, you'll see it played out in your group of friends in that comic. So it's really fantastic. He's a great storyteller, great art. I love the art. Maybe not be for everybody, but everything about the comic I think is fantastic.
Excellent.
I'll give them top 2.
Let's see. Next couple come from Kelly. Favorite historical figure?
Nietzsche.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not even close. Like, I would love to sit down and like have a conversation with him. A lot of his philosophical views align with things that I believe in as well. Somebody we lost too early too. I think if he would have kept his sanity, he lost his mind later in his life, and a lot of the stuff that he was working on to counter his own philosophical arguments in some cases, we never got to see that to fruition. So I think it would have been really interesting to see the rest of what he had to say, essentially. Powerful man. If you haven't looked at any kind of philosophy out of Nietzsche, go look up Master-Slave Morality. That's probably my favorite. It's a really good take on how morality works. And in the real world, not this, Western European Christian version of morality.
Not the ideal world.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's the difference between a wasp and a hornet?
I don't know.
In
Yeah, I
theory,
don't know.
in theory, this doesn't count because it's from Cali and there's no two Q's in front of it. But
Doesn't
Well,
count
let's
as
A
Cali.
wasp and a hornet. Does one builds? No, they both build nests, I guess. I don't know. I truly don't know that one. Actually, I'm going to Google that. A wasp and a hornet.
Kelly, let's have you Google that and report back next week. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
report
save this
back because I would like to know now.
And speaking of reporting back, have you thought of the fanciest word you know
Oh,
off the top
no.
of your head yet?
I didn't Google it. I got distracted.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know any fancy words now.
Well, that's okay because Bobby will save it by asking Jim Lee, Bruce Lee, or
Oh.
Spike Lee.
No, I don't like this. Oh God. Okay. Jim Lee had the most impact on like the love of art and the artistic side of my life, and looking at how people can translate powerful things into paper, as far as in like the comics medium. Bruce Lee, I'm not a huge Bruce Lee fan. I appreciate him as a fellow martial artist and the things that he accomplished, not only for his race at the time and in film. He accomplished a lot there. Just as a human being, his athleticism, just being on a whole different level of his capabilities. And Spike Lee, his movies are phenomenal. I don't think anybody's gonna say anything bad about Spike Lee. So I think Spike Lee adds to a more broad spectrum. I think more people are probably impacted by Spike Lee's presence than Bruce Lee or Jim Lee's presence. But for me personally, Jim Lee's number one, then Bruce Lee, then Spike Lee.
That's an interesting approach. Which of those people has more of an impact?
Yeah, because
Right.
I mean, they all impacted different avenues of life. Like Jim Lee with art, Bruce Lee with physicality, and Spike Lee with visual art in movies, right? With cinematography and telling the stories that you can watch instead of having to read. So they all had three different approaches to life. So I think they're all important in their own categories. But for me personally, like I said, Jim Lee's probably number one because I would say he has the most impact on me personally. But I would say the world as a whole, Spike Lee is probably the most impactful of the three of them. Not taking anything away from Bruce Lee, but
And then last from Cali, and we'll take him off double secret probation. Do you have an actor you would put into the role of Two-Face?
no. I mean, me if they want to cast me. Actor I would want to put as Two-Face. I would like to see. Out of people that are living currently, I would either want to see. I think the Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. So the kid that does Pennywise, right? Younger
Yeah.
guy.
Mhm.
I think he would probably do phenomenal. Every time
Wow.
you see him as some kind of like monstrosity or half monstrosity or villain, he has such a powerful presence in cinema. I would say like today, if I had to cast it, that would be like my number one. I would have liked to have seen Tony Todd Candyman, the original Candyman. I would have loved like back then to see him do what we would do now to cast Two-Face. I would love to see him in that role, but in his prime. I would have liked to seen him take on the Harvey Dent role with the modern version of storytelling and let him really go crazy with that character. I'm trying to think. There's so many people. Skarsgård's definitely number one in current day. I would have really liked to have seen. This. Maybe this is like a deep cut or too weird, but I would have loved to have seen a Two-Face movie that was done from a storytelling perspective that's psychological horror, almost like suffering with severe OCD with the coin, right? With like having to have it make your decisions. I would have loved to seen the psychology of that play out for an old Two-Face who's aged, his mind's not as sharp as it once was, and then had Sid Haig play Two-Face. Put him as the main character and have the whole movie just be a psychological horror movie, just him dealing with the fact that he can't make decisions. And just play it all from a psychology standpoint, just him slowly deteriorating mentally with age, and put Sid Haig in that role, give him the face, and just make it a psychological horror. And I think that movie would be a dream. Obviously, rest in peace, Sid Haig. He's not around anymore. Great guy. But I think that would have been phenomenal to see.
That would be wild.
Looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions left.
Keep them coming, people. I'm ready. I've got it.
So I don't know if this is a fair question, given what you've revealed already. Your favorite meal to eat all by yourself?
She wasn't here, though.
Yeah.
Adam wasn't here. So this is my favorite for myself. I don't eat food, so it's I felt that going into this, I knew like a lot of people got food questions. I was like, oh no, people are gonna be miserable because I don't eat. Yeah, I don't eat food. So
do you have an opinion on pineapple on pizza?
No, don't put pineapple on pizza. I'm still a human being. Okay, I might not eat, but I still have morals. All right.
Hell
There's
no.
some lines you don't cross. All right.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Put those people under the jail. Pineapple doesn't go on.
Okay, a couple questions from Madam. If you could have dinner with one person, no relation to you, who would you choose?
One person, no relation to me. Okay, so it can't be a family member. If it's an offer, you. If not, Rosko like that. No, if it's alive or dead, I would really. Nietzsche is always going to be number one from a conversation standpoint, because I feel like there's multiple reasons you're going to go to dinner with another human being, right? You're either going because the food, you're going because of the personality, the conversation that you can have, or you're going because something that they do appeals to you. So like a work or a hobby perspective, right? And to me, just because of the way my brain works, I guess, and because of how much I like to do deep introspection and really work on those things, is I would want Nietzsche there, because I feel like the conversations you're going to have with Nietzsche are going to be way more impactful to my life and my mentality, my thought process, than anybody that I just liked them in something. You sit down with an actor and you can talk about acting, but I'm not an actor, so it doesn't impact my hobby. I'm just going to talk because I like this thing they did, whereas Nietzsche is going to impact my actual life if I have a conversation with him. So I think that would be my number one by far.
Okay.
That's what's up.
And last from Madam. Let's see.
Oh, okay. We're gonna play this game. Let me think. Oh, there's so many options. Mary Voodoo from Wildcats. I don't know, that might be weird. F Mother 1 from Wetworks. If I don't know if that's possible, but that's gonna be the run. She was in the swimsuit issue and it was all like cords hanging out, so who knows? But attractive lady. Kill. Oh, dude, who would I kill? Who do I really not like in comics? I think like who I'm just like, oh, I don't want to ever see this character again. Who's just miserable to hear in a comic book? Nobody. They wouldn't be any characters from books I like. Is the funny thing. It would probably be. Kill is hard.
It's like even the villains I hate, I like them because I hate them so much.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's not, and I feel like everybody has something to add, so it's really hard to pick somebody that I would kill. maybe no, even that's a cool character. Kill Shaft from Youngblood. Kill anything Rob Liefeld did, I guess. Mostly
What?
kill. Yeah, I hope he does. If he watches this, I don't want to be. He's gonna block me on everything.
Don't kill Bad Rock.
Yeah, don't. No, God, no, he's so cool. Shaft's kind of a jerk.
That's true. Yeah, I can see that.
Hey, can I pick Rob Liefeld? Has he ever been in a comic book? What if I just pick him? He was in the Kill Image book. I pick Rob Liefeld.
Oh, interesting
Just
loophole
like
you
a
found
jerk
there.
to people, you know?
Well,
Like,
we'll never have him on the show now. No, I'm just
Interesting
kidding.
loophole.
come on the
Thanks
show.
a lot.
Rob Liefeld.
Appreciate you, man. No.
I think he would come on just to dog me about that comment. Like he seems like that type of guy, you know?
And he's gonna eat food while he's doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh, he would be like, "Doesn't this look delicious?" Oh, and then I would cook it. I would cook the food, and he would be like, "I cooked this food." Like he would want credit for it.
Hell nah.
That might be a deep cut. Don't edit this
What
out.
up, Joe?
I shouldn't do live. Live's bad for me. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Yeah, I don't know him. I've only interacted with him like a couple of times, and every time he was super angry. So maybe I just have a bad impression of him. He's probably a nice guy to some people, but I've just not had any positive interactions or stories ever from anybody who was around him. So
I know Comic Journey.
You know, it's interesting you bring up Comic Journey because I'm over here talking with him, actually finding his message on Instagram. It's a little delayed, but he did want to support you. He wanted to give you a quick shout out. I think he might have tried to submit some art, and if he did, it didn't come through. So I'm hoping maybe I can get in touch with him.
Yeah, tell him somebody message him. Tell CJ he's got to get his art back in.
Yeah.
Let me see if he sent it to me. I'll double check.
Okay.
CJ is great.
For some reason, it ended up in my request bin.
I hate when that happens.
So I didn't. So I'm just now seeing it. Anyway, and speaking of which, folks, there's still time if you want. We got a nice, healthy number of entries for today. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 entries for today's bees theme. Ain't they at the bees' knees?
Callie, a cigarette smoking chimp isn't the Gerard Way comic? Does that chimp smoke? You could have him. He could be a dinner guest for you.
Yeah, what was that? It was
Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Under
After he becomes a biker.
Pogo.
When he's a biker chimp. Yeah, Pogo. Doesn't he smoke when he's like a biker gang person?
I think so.
Yeah, so you could have Pogo there. Nikolai Tesla would be a great dinner guest. Nikolai Tesla would be a good one. I feel like Tesla, the way he understands things, I imagine, would be so far beyond how I could comprehend that it would be hard to have a conversation with him. Like, he would probably tell you really insightful stuff, but I wouldn't be able to it wouldn't do anything for me because I couldn't act on, you're just not caught up to where he's at. He's trying to bring all this stuff to the world, whereas Nietzsche is trying to expand your mind, like your understanding of concepts that we already have. That's why Nietzsche's always such a good go-to. Philosophers in general, it doesn't have to be Nietzsche. It could be Voltaire. If that's the direction of philosophy you like, Voltaire has a lot of interesting things. I'm sure he'd be great to talk to. Maybe not Freud. Might not be the best conversation you've ever had in your life.
I'm not sure how my parents would feel about that.
Yeah. It would not be allowed on YouTube. You couldn't have a conversation with Freud.
Okay, so last two questions are from K-pop. Unless someone comes in with something new here.
Keep asking me questions, people. Everybody.
K-pop asks, if you could get any artist to do a reboot
of
Wildcats Wetworks, who would you pick? Ooh. And I'll let you choose the art team if you want to choose.
Oh no!
Inkers and letterists.
Off the top of your head. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
Yes.
If it's
don't forget. We'll save this for you until next week. You can answer from the audience.
Yeah, it'll be like next month. I'll be in a show and I'll just add him and be like, "Listen,
what's the word?"
I finally googled the biggest word I could find. Any artist. It's so hard because like the original is so good, but I feel like if I had to attach people to the project, I'm just gonna throw some names out there. It could be artists, could be writers, but if I had to attach, if there's a Wildcats Wetworks crossover, let's say for instance, since there's a slash, we're gonna say just in this hypothetical, if they're both in the same book, I would want Chris Uminga to be involved in some way. I love his art style. You'd have to have Scotty Young probably come do a cover. Not one of those lazy ones where it's like one character and it looks like every cover he's done. It'd have to be like a cool cover, not the ones where he dials it in because he's got a Marvel contract.
Yeah, right.
I would be happy with Jay Lee coming back. Jay Lee's trilogy run isn't my favorite part of Wildcats, but I enjoy him as an artist, so I think he would be great on the project. Who else? Portaccio would have to be involved. Like, I would be like, Jim Lee not being involved isn't a huge issue for me because I feel like I don't want to say anything bad about Jim Lee. Never mind. I'll talk bad about Rob Liefeld, but I'm not going to say anything publicly bad about Jim Lee.
I'll send this to him at the end.
Yeah, I'll message it to him. No, like I don't know what his life is. I'm not even going to get into that, but I probably wouldn't have him back. I think he created the characters, and that's great. I would like Brandon Choi to come back to be on it. Portaccio would be on it. Jay Lee would be on it. Chris Uminga would be on it. Tim Seeley, I would love to have Seeley on it. He worked on, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like the later parts of Wildcats in the original run, he's credited in the book. People, like, you don't think about it because a lot of stuff you see him on, people just like look over it. But like, people think hack and slash, but he's on the Wildcats cover. I mean, unless it's a different Seeley, but
that must have been early in his.
Pretty sure he worked on a Wildcats book. I have one that has his last name on it, so unless there's another one in the industry, or maybe it's missing a letter, I don't know. I hope it's him because I feel bad if I bring that for him to sign. He's like, "This isn't me."
He just messaged me.
Yeah, he's like, "I hate this dude. Get him out of here."
Yeah. Let's put Frazetta on.
He's giving me credit on things.
Yeah, how dare he credit me with Wildcats? Yeah, I think that would be the team. I wouldn't want a big team. Oh, you know what? No, I've got another one. This may be I don't know. So let me recap the people we've got. So we get Chris Uminga. Art's great. Scotty maybe gets to do a cover, maybe if it's not lazy. We get Jay Lee involved. Brandon Choi, Portaccio. I swear I know I'm missing somebody that I'm gonna like punch myself later when I'm thinking like, oh, I should have said he could be on the Wildcats reboot. And you know who else I want on it? Brandon from Dismay Comics. I want Brandon on the project.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I think that would be neat. If I had to put together the dream team and I get picks of anybody, Brandon has to go too. So both Brandon and Brandon Choi have to work together. And Seeley, they can split the writing duties between the three of them to come up with the series. And then I would like to have Chris Uminga do the interior art, I feel like, in his style. Not the like, we're going to do it like it looks like a DC comic, like his actual style that he does on his own. I want that to be the interior pages because he does a weird, deformed stuff like how I like. And then have Jay Lee do covers and have Scotty do covers. I'd like to have Jolly Blackburn involved, but he doesn't really do superhero stuff. So I don't know if he'd be down for that, but put him in there too. And then that's the dream team. I don't want people that have done something with Wildcats, Like I want like one or two people who've ever been involved with the projects, and then everybody else to be people who could bring fresh ideas to it. I want to see something like the Two-Face thing I was talking about, right? Like, they're not going to do that at DC. You're not going to bring anybody that's ever worked on Two-Face that wants to do that story. You have to bring in people that don't work on the character who are like, what if we did this weird thing? Let's just throw something crazy together. So that would be my picks, I feel like.
Nice.
Sold. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Somebody said it to Jim Lee. Cut out the part where I said I was going to say something bad about him. Not really bad. Let me explain that because I'm actually going to be anxious about that all night, like after the show. The only thing that I've negative to say about Jim Lee, which isn't even really a negative thing, is that he got rid of Wildstorm. To me, because he created Wildcats as a kid with Brandon Choi, right? And to me, I don't know what his situation was. I know he's a very business oriented person. For people that worked with him and stuff, they said he's very like the working man's man, like very that kind of culture. But to give up the characters you created as a kid that you love and like to sell them off to a company where you have no control of it, to me feels weird. Like I would be uncomfortable with that because you don't know what's going to happen. You know, like those, I don't know. It just, to me, it just seems odd. So could be totally like, I mean, look, now, what does it matter, right? He sold them all, but now he runs DC, so he can do whatever he wants with them again. But to not have control of them as a creator, to have like made this thing as a child, and then as an adult be like, here, take it, I'm going to make some money. I don't know. Yeah, he's president of DC right now. But, you know, for that gap, when he sold Wildstorm to DC, he sold all the comics, and Portacio's stuff went too, because Portacio didn't want partnership in Image, so he just had the stuff under Jim Lee. All of that goes to DC, and then there's a gap where Jim Lee wouldn't have had anything to do with it. If he didn't 20 years later become the president of DC, or 10 years later, whatever the time frame was, he never would have had those characters in his control ever again for the rest of his life. To me, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I feel like there's characters you could make and sell off to make money, but the ones you made when you're a kid, like the purest form of characters you're ever going to make,
I'd have selling your kids.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're never going to get that back because it's never going to be a 10-year-old Jim Lee, you know, coming up with cool concepts with his best friend when they want to work on comics. You know, you're never going to get to do that again. You were already successful. You could have made anything and sold it off. You could have said, here, take everything else, but we're keeping this, you know? So to me, my personal views, I guess, conflict with that. That's the only negative thing I've ever had to say about him, is I feel like that's just a weird play. As a creator, I would have a hard time.
So 2 questions left. This first question was going to be the last question until Callie came in with the last
Keep sending them. Don't let them in the show. So everyone's held hostage.
So we actually haven't talked about this on tonight's show. Okay. Tell us about beeswax. Tell us about when it's getting a die-cut holofoam chromium cover.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't really do crazy covers with beeswax. It's funny because I had somebody else ask a while back if I was doing something. It was some kind of like crazy, you know how covers are nowadays. Everybody's got some crazy cover gimmick thing. And I was like, one, I didn't even know what they were talking about. Like whatever the thing they said was, I was like, I don't even know what kind of cover that is. To me, I don't know. I would do maybe like a foil or something if somebody else did the cover art, not me. I like my covers like plain on the thick paper. Anybody that's seen my comics, hold on, I'll get one out. This is an issue 1. But anybody that's seen my comics, you know, they know I like these neon colored covers, lots of empty space. This is a number 1, but the number 2, which actually I think is probably slowly become my preferred cover. Okay, I'm trying to like not accidentally leak any. There's like art for issue 3 laying over here. There's like stuff that has to be shipped out to other people, and I'm trying to make sure I don't pull out anything secret.
No one watches this show. We won't.
Yeah. But I like the covers to look like this. You know, like I get the appeal of doing those hollow foils and chromium covers, but I like this kind of stuff. And my number 1 thing was like when I made the comic, and even now, is I want to be happy with it. If I make a bunch of these, if I get 300 of these in the mail and nobody buys them, but I'm stoked on it, I'm cool because it's only my money. So they don't sell. I'm like, cool, I made this. I like this. You know, it's all for me. Right. It just so happens there's other people out there who also liked this. Like I said, the stipulation is if somebody else did the cover work, which we have spoilers, but we have some people coming. Then I would consider doing like some stuff with it, just because I think with other people's stuff it's fine, you know, if they like it or if they don't care. For me, I just like this. I don't know. It just works for me. I would like to do a prismatic cover, like the Wildcats number 2. I would be cool with doing a prismatic just as a Wildcats throwback. But no, I think the rest of it's just not for me. Maybe it just doesn't entice me at all. I guess because I usually avoid covers like that nowadays.
I'm thinking of a nerdy question I would normally ask on K-pop's channel.
Okay.
What do you look for in a printer?
Oh, that's a good question. So my main thing when I went to do number one, was in my head, the feel of these covers and the interior pages had to be very specific. And it wasn't something I was very good at articulating. Because, like, how do you describe how a certain paper feels versus another paper? But I knew, like, when I felt it, I knew it would be the thing I liked. So I had to get samples sent in, check every sample, and they're like, well, we have this 110 weight, this 100, this 8, and I'm like, it doesn't do me any good. Send it to me. Let me feel it, because I can't tell you, like, yeah, this 100's going to be great, because, and everybody's sending you modern samples, and I'm like, I don't want that. Like, do you do newspaper print? Like old comics? Give me that. Like, I don't care if it's expensive, cheap. Like, give me the one that I want. And yeah, these actually, like, these are not cheap to make because of all my decisions with how paper covers are. They don't look like they would be expensive. You know what I mean? Like, when you see them, you would think like modern comics probably more pricey than this, but modern comics are the way the paper choices are way cheaper for them than doing something like this. The covers are all heavyweight sketch covers. So every issue, these covers are technically sketch covers. What everybody else would do for a blank sketch cover, that's our normal cover all the time. I like the thickness of it. I like the feel of it. And I do remarks a lot. So it's just handy, to have nice.
You don't charge extra for it.
Nope. not for the books. Make your money back in remarks, And the interior pages, I want it to feel like comic pages. I don't like modern comics. They don't feel good to me. They don't make me feel like it's a comic book. It doesn't feel like how they felt my whole life, I liked the newspaper print. Old Static Shock comics, old like DC Milestone books and things like that. When you touch that, you had ink on your hands. You know what I mean? Like I remember I would go to school and my neck would be black. And people would be like, did you not like wash? And I'm like, I do, but I always read comics 24/7. And the ink would come off on my hands, and I would end up with like ink stains, like on my hands, on my neck, on my face, and you can't get it off. It's a pain. So to me, that's just what comics feel like. I think it's just it's a very tactile experience. If you just want to read this, get some, put scans up on the internet, let somebody read it online. If you're going to do it like this, if you're going to put something out physically, you touching it is part of the experience. Otherwise, people would buy it digitally.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to give you this, it's part of the experience. I'm not just going to hand you, hey, look how great the writing is. Not me, but I'm just saying somebody, not how great the writing is, how great this art is. No, I'm not. I'm selling you the whole package. You don't show up at the car lot and they go, look at how great the frame of the car is. You take the frame. It's all part of it. You have to get the wheels, the engine, you have to get everything. So I want you to like the cover. I want you to like the interior art and the paper.
It's a package deal.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience. And I think it's very underappreciated because until someone has a bad experience with a certain type of paper or something that just irks them about a book that's done that way, they never put active conscious thought into something like that. But if you think back on it, it's a huge part of the experience. If you remember comics you really love, like the strongest nostalgia you have for a book, if you think about that book in your head, I guarantee you can tell me how that paper felt. I know you remember what the paper felt like on your hands. So it's not the same if you read it online. If you had done that same thing in 2010, if you told some kid, what's your favorite comic? And he said, yeah, I read, Batman Widening Gyre on Comics Reader or something, it was great. That kid's not going to tell you the experience that somebody who's read actual physical copies, they're not going to have that passion to it like you would, because you have this multiple senses layered memory to it. You know, you see it, you're smelling it, you're feeling it.
I was just going to say there's a smell associated with it also.
Yeah,
if it's an old book, it smells wonderfully old, and if it's
Yep.
new, you can smell the fresh ink on the page kind of
That's
thing.
exactly it. I feel like you have to strike every single thing, because that's how you draw people in. You know, you can you could evoke emotion out of people with the way you write something or the way you direct a film or something. You know, you can have people react to how something's laid out, but if you really want to pull them in, you have to make it a whole experience. You know what I mean? If you watch a movie at home, it's not like watching a movie in the theater. You don't have this big sound hitting you from everywhere. It's not a dark, pitch black room where the color is just striking you, and you know what I mean? Like, you feel that sound in your chest. When you go home and watch that same movie, you're like, yeah, it's good, but it's not as good as I remember. I probably wouldn't watch it again. Yeah, because you're not feeling it. You're not getting the whole experience the way it's supposed to be. The person who's directing it, they're feeling the whole experience. When you watch it at home, you don't get that again. And I try to bring that, once again, my love of film, I guess. I try to bring that aspect into comics with me as like a cinemaphile. I want to give people that same experience that directors want you to have with films. That's why directors tell you, go to the movies. When you buy it at your house, you're not going to love it as much. When you go to the movies, it's going to, you know, you're going to have this passion to it. You're going to feel it. Or opera. Like, I'm a big opera fan. Listening to opera on vinyl or on MP3 or on any format is great, right? When you go to an opera, it's not the same. Like, you'll be in tears, like you'll be elated. It's a whole different experience when you're living it there, because it's striking so many senses. Can you line a comic with addictive substances? You can. I'm not going to tell you how, but it is possible. It's also the same way you smuggle a lot of stuff around the country and into jails. So yes, you could put them in a comic. Don't do it, but you could.
Okay, one question left, and I'm actually going to let Rosko read that. And I'll just going to remind you that we will save this off of the top of your head question for another time.
I gotta learn more big words now. If anybody in my family sees this, I'm gonna never hear the end of this part, because they're gonna be like, "Oh, like you can."
All of a sudden, they're going to want to play Boggle with you.
Dude, it's gonna be bad. I only use big words with family. The rest of the time, I talk like a hood rat kid. It's just how I am. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
So, Rosko, did you feel like maybe reading this comment?
Oh yeah. Hear that?
He even wrote 2 Qs, so you got to do it.
Oh, he came in with the 2 Qs. It's respectable now.
But yeah, I think I'm starting to hear that.
Hear
Do you
what?
hear that, Phil?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear something.
Oh.
Awesome. All right, Matt, are you ready for this or that?
Wait, one thing before this or that. Last thing.
Oh.
Tim Seeley did work on Wildcats. I Googled it and made sure he is on multiple issues, post issue 20. Just in case anybody tries to double check me later, I wasn't wrong. We can play this or that now. I wanted to make sure I gave him credit and I wasn't crazy.
Okay. No problem, brother. All right, here we go. Rock and roll or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Waffles or pancakes? Oh, wait.
It's fine. I can still answer them.
Go ahead.
Pancakes.
Okay. Well, you did the right one. Okay. Who would you rather be a sidekick to, Batman or Captain America?
Batman.
Hoodie or jacket?
Hoodie.
Driver or passenger in the line?
Driver. No
Lazy
question.
boy recliner or outdoor hammock?
Ooh. Outdoor hammock.
Raw or slabbed?
Oh, that's not the question I thought it was. Raw.
You still
In
answered.
everything. Yeah. Same.
Would you rather go fishing or stay home and play video games?
Stay home and play video games. I hate fishing.
Truck or SUV?
SUV, I don't like either. SUV.
Better Spider-Man villain, Venom or Green Goblin?
Green Goblin.
Sporting event or Broadway show?
Broadway show, probably 9 out of 10 times. Depends on the sporting event.
Okay. Movie or a good TV series?
Movie.
Silver or gold?
Gold. I like gold.
When you order, oh no, here you go. Hold on. I'm sorry. Here we go. You'd rather be hairy like Beast or made out of rocks like Thing?
I already lived my life as hairy-legged beast, so I'm gonna go with rocks like Thing.
Okay. Pinball or skee ball?
Skee ball.
Batman villain, better Batman villain, Bane or Penguin?
Oh. Penguin's the better villain.
Snow or sand?
Sand.
Who would you rather join, the X-Men or the Avengers?
X-Men, no question.
Early bird or night owl?
Night Owl.
Tattoos, yes or no?
Yes, always. On everything.
On everything? Um,
I tattooed my cat yesterday.
There we go. You tattooed your cat yesterday. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, on everything.
What chore would you rather do, laundry or dishes?
Either. Dishes. I would do both. I don't mind.
Would you rather your best friend win $100,000 or you win $25,000?
Best friend win 100,000. No question. Even if he doesn't give me any of it.
You better give you some. No. Would you rather be able to speak with all animals or any human language on Earth?
Any human language on Earth.
Phone battery never die or full signal anywhere and everywhere you go?
Full signal, I guess. I don't care about my phone, so I would say full signal. I don't want it to never die because then I'd have to deal with it.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation. I like traveling.
Would you rather be an expert at one thing or just decent at a lot of other things?
Oh no. I'm just decent at so many things that I think I would take expert at one thing just to have a change of pace. I have so many useless skills already.
Would you rather be able to remember everything you see or everything you hear?
I feel like everything. God, that's a tough one, actually. My heart tells me everything I hear. There's an argument to be made for the other one, but I'm just gonna go with my gut instinct.
Okay. X-Force or West Coast Avengers?
X-Force.
Comedy or action movie?
Action.
How do you recharge? Alone or with friends and family?
With people, always. Extrovert.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Rock climbing or bungee jumping?
Rock climbing, scared of heights. I'm not jumping off nothing.
All right, well then I won't ask the next one. Deep sea diving or skydiving?
Deep sea diving. Yep. All day. I love the ocean.
Cooler X-Men villain, Mr. Sinister or Apocalypse?
Oh no. I know who I think's the cooler villain, but I know somebody else that's that way that's gonna come and beat me up later if I don't say Mr. Sinister.
Oh.
I think Apocalypse, but just don't show this interview to anybody.
All of a sudden something flies in, hits you, and nails you.
I was kind of waiting to hear like my door get smacked into all of a sudden. There's a Mr. Sinister statue over here, not mine, But Apocalypse, in my opinion, I think is way cooler.
All right. Better road gallery, Spider-Man or Batman?
Batman, no question. What?
Uh,
Not even close.
Better animated series right now, X-Men 99 or Invincible?
I haven't watched either.
I mean, X-Men 97. What did I say? 99.
I haven't watched
It's a new one that's coming out. Don't tell no one.
Yeah,
No.
it's the one starring Prince.
I'm gonna go with Invincible.
Okay.
I watched the original X-Men animated series, and I've heard people like say that it's like the changes and stuff. It's not targeted at me, you know. Invincible's like I haven't seen either, but I'm gonna say Invincible. I feel like that's probably what I would enjoy more.
Okay. I asked this one last week, and I thought it was funny. I'll see what you say.
Okay.
Better green character, Hulk or Kermit?
Kermit,
Oh, yeah.
no question, no
Yeah.
question. Green Lantern wasn't an option, so Kermit.
All right. And would you rather be stuck in a pool with a shark or stuck in a cage with a lion?
Cage with a Lion.
All right. And the last one I got for you tonight, brother. Would you rather smell like Swamp Thing or look like the Toxic Avenger?
Ooh, smell like Swamp Thing. I lived in the swamps my like whole life, pretty much. So I've swam in them. I know what it is to smell like Swamp Thing.
Excellent.
This is my favorite part of the show, by the way. Like I was so excited to do this or that.
Awesome.
I was
brother.
like
appreciate it.
prepping. I was like, oh, like I can't wait to see. I gotta do them quick and not think about it because I'll argue both sides of it if I have time.
Oh, I know it's easy to do that. That's for sure. But
had to
thank you
stop
so
myself.
much again. I appreciate because this is one of my favorite segments called
The
Yeah.
music's so good for every segment.
I'm like, yes, Phil got it.
God, God. 3 strikes and I was out.
Great segment. Great segment. This is my favorite part. Like when I watch the videos on the channel of the other Between the Lines videos, I'm always like, get to the this or that part. Like I want to know what their opinion is on weird questions. I think when you only get two options, it's really shows.
I'm starting to get more. I'm getting more and more because I'm like, I need to get more this or that. So it's good to get some more weirder stuff. That's why I was like, the green character. I thought that was fun. You know,
I was waiting for like a Wildcats or Wetworks or something, and I was gonna have like a mental breakdown.
I should have. Dang. Phil.
But yeah, that's the best part. When you give people only 2 questions, 2 answers to a question, and they can't explain themselves, it's like a litmus test, right? Because people who try to explain their answer are like trying to justify why they're saying that thing instead of just giving what they go with. It's like lie detectors, right? Like lie detectors, the big trick to them is that when you take one, the questions they ask are designed to make you want to explain yourself. And then you give away information that you wouldn't normally volunteer. So it doesn't matter like whether you say yes or no and it's truthful or not. It's when you say, oh, say like you're a murderer. They're like, oh, did you see, so were you the last person to see them alive? And you go, I have to say yes because they're going to pick it up. So you say yes, but then you have to explain yourself. So you're like, oh, well, I seen them at so-and-so and this and that. And then you give them all this information, right? That like you wouldn't volunteer. Things like this or that does that to people. You either have to give away a bunch of information about yourself trying to explain why you answer a certain way, or your answers will do that themselves.
Got him. I got you guys.
It's a good look to see how people's minds work.
Got him. That was my whole reasoning behind. No.
Now it is. Now you can use it.
Now it definitely is.
Yeah.
What else can I come up with?
A lot of stuff like that, people that you don't think about it when you do it the first time per se. You may like put something in because you think it's like a fun thing, and you don't realize how much of a psychological impact that like what you're doing will do. Like subconsciously, a lot of people who do interviews have things like that they're like, oh, this is like a neat thing, and you don't realize that your brain is like it's reaching out to doing things like that because you want to have that kind of more explanatory that things happen. I don't want to dig too much.
Got real deep on this or that.
Oh, always. That's why they can't have me in interviews. I have to be on like panels when like a bunch of people are talking, because then I'll get distracted and like draw and not be like just running off for 4 hours on some weird topic about how like your extroverted intuition, and this is why you see all these broad spectrum ideas. That's real weird real quick. Don't be alone with me.
That's great.
Bye.
You did awesome, brother.
You do great, Matt. Oh, thank you, K-pop. I appreciate it. I
Yeah,
try to be bearable,
CJ, thanks for your entry. We got it. If you're still here.
Oh, cool. Comic Journeys. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate you, brother.
I'm trying to go to Heroes Con as well. I missed like the booth thing. I probably won't do it Heroes Con this year, but I know CJ and everybody goes to that. So I was like, I'm going to have to get tickets so I can go hang out with everybody. So I'm going to attempt to be at Heroes Con. I've put it on my schedule.
You'll see me. I'll be
Are you
there.
going too?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. I'm probably going to go. I don't know what everybody's timeline of like if everybody's going for the weekend or what. I'll probably go for like a day. It's not far from me. Like I can drive there and drive back. So I'll probably go for a day. And then like if it's sick, I'll go the next day too. And if not, I'll just drive back. So I want to at least get out and see everybody from the community that goes. And, I rest in peace, Ed Pisker, but his family will be there. I wanted to go and meet him. And then,
I met him last year.
Yeah. So with the tragedy and everything, I was talking to his mom, and she had posted something saying, we're all going to Heroes Con to keep Ed's booth alive and see people that care about him and stuff. And I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm going to make it a point, even if nobody I knew was going, to go just to meet your family and offer condolences.
Right.
He's I post this on Instagram, so I don't think it's a secret anymore. But there's a dedication page in every issue of Beeswax that comes out. I try to put, different things in. The first one had dedications to like family and friends that supported me. The second issue had dedications to just a small portion of people that died in my life. Some people naturally, some people in awful ways. And then issue 3, the whole dedication page is just to Ed. So I gave him a little write-up, and so I hope his mom liked it on Instagram and sent me a thank you and stuff. And I was like, it's such a small thing, but especially if you have kids, to think like, I can't imagine outliving your kids, especially in these circumstances, for something like this to happen and then someone to lose their life over it is just beyond me. Yeah. So
it's so sad.
Anybody that his artwork out there in the universe, anybody, if it touched you, his mom and his family runs that Ed Pisker's Legacy Instagram. Just send them a message, even if you don't think it's important, and just say, hey, I like this comics a lot. Sorry about what happened. Because it may not feel like much, but to somebody like that who's really suffering, especially when it feels like the whole world turned against you, and that's kind of what put Ed in the position he was in. Take 2 seconds out of your day, shoot him a message, and just tell him, I'm a stranger and you're in my thoughts, and I care about you guys. Could make a big difference in somebody's life.
I love that he called himself a cartoonist, so that was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Because that's what I am, and like
same.
I mean, there's a lot of people that I follow, like Scotty and Humberto Ramos, and those guys have a cartoon-esque feel.
Right.
They don't call themselves cartoonists.
Yeah, they don't call themselves cartoonists. Yeah. I feel like it's almost a negative label to people like that, where they don't want to be associated with this kind of defined version of their style. I think cartoonist is great. I would rather be a cartoonist than just an artist, honestly.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I love it. It's what I've been doing since I've been a kid. So
yeah.
But I actually did something from my childhood today. So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
I did too, but mine's busted. I'm not gonna lie, I really should have done so much more. I told you when we were messaging, and I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I've got this idea about this other thing I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do it." So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do it." While me and Mr. Phil were talking before the show. Oh no, I lost the brush pen. When me and Mr. Phil were talking, I was drawing it because I was like, "Oh, I'll kill some time and just see like how this works." And yeah, I mean, it's not great, but I did draw it while the show was going on, so I'm just gonna send it, and people will see how bad my stuff comes out when I'm not having to sit there and be able to redo it 100 times.
Nah, I bet it's fine, bro.
I should have took the cheap way out. I was gonna just do beeswax, because I was like, I draw this up a million times, so I can kill this. I was gonna do a full color big beeswax, but then I was like, this will be way more interesting because I've never done it, and it's not good, but it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, I've never drawn this character in my life either.
Okay, so we both had firsts.
Yeah, I've never drawn this character, and I've never drawn the character that I crossed it over with either.
Ooh,
Yeah,
double
so-
first.
Oh, that reminds me. What was the book I was going to give to you in exchange for Dupe?
Beneath the Trees.
Ah, yes.
What is that?
Now that you're back. Beneath the Trees where
you
nobody
haven't heard of
sees.
Beneath the Trees where nobody sees?
It's from
It's-
IDW or Boom? Which one?
It's a
Let me
boom.
see.
It's like the indie book that's kind of.
The title, yeah, like the title sounds.
It's about a serial killer.
Let's see.
I am a big fan of it. Big fan of it. I really like it a lot.
Oh, I've seen this cover before. I haven't read this though. It's good. It's worth
I
reading.
enjoy it a lot. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna pick it up. Somebody else, I think it was probably you, Rosko, was talking about it on a different panel or something one day.
Could have been. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm actually I really dig it a lot, and I contacted the creator too to see if he could come on the show. So
Hell yeah.
But-
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
the one
Oh.
that put me onto it. And I remember looking at the cover and I was like, oh, this looks kind of neat. And then I just, life happened and I just never looked back into it. But now I'm bookmarking it right now, so I won't forget this time.
see, I like animals and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, that kind of plays
So-
to my wheelhouse.
I think what issue 6 is the last and about to drop.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna end. Yeah,
6-issue miniseries. Maybe they'll get a spinoff though. A lot of 6-issue miniseries end up getting something when they get that good run to them.
yeah.
I wonder, as a sign of the times, I wonder if we're 10 years ago, if a lot of the books that are solicited as minis would have been solicited as ongoing. They are just throwing stuff on the wall to see what sticks before
I
they
think-
commit.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair shot. I mean, I think it depends on what publisher you land on too, because you see like there's books on Image where I'm like, no shade to anybody on there, but like there's books on there where I'm like, how did this end up on Image? And like it runs for a little bit and then it disappears. People are like, what happened to this book? And you never hear anything about it. Nobody bought it. Like how did this get through? But like Kirkman didn't get through and was already doing like a successful indie book, or you hear stories of like crazy indie books that people really love. They're like, yeah, I submitted this, and they wouldn't take it, but they're you go look at a comic book store and there's 400 Image titles that no one's ever heard of that have no fanfare, and it's like great for the people that got on, like props to them. But there's definitely just things like that. I'm like, what happened here? Leviathan. I was in Southeast Cards and Comics. Shout out to them. Send me the number so you can stock my book already. Jokes. The owners are really nice people. They'll have my book at some point. We've talked about it. But one of the guys there had a slab Leviathan issue behind the counter and had the Leviathan plushie that came out after like issue 1. Like I think in issue 2 they advertised it. And I was like, oh, you got Leviathan stuff? And he was like, no, this is my personal stuff. It was like signed and all this. And he was like, no, this is my personal. And I was like, oh, I like Leviathan. I thought it was, it was interesting. It was like funny, but it's just the art was weird and it was enjoyable. It's like a fun little book. But like 3 issues came out and then no one ever heard anything about it. And it was on Image. And he was like, "Do you know what happened to Leviathan?" I was like, "No." I was like, "It's just 1, 2, 3, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't." He's like, "I've never seen anything else from him after issue 3." So books like that come out, no one hears about them. You know, they're not like a big splash or anything. Even good ones, you know, and they just. Luckily, we still get a good couple that blow up, like Die, fantastic book. If you haven't read that,
Did that run for 18 and then? I
Yeah,
think that got a hardcover treatment, and 18 is usually the number for that.
it did like 3 print runs. I think at least 3 print runs.
I have a friend who really speaks well of that.
Right. It's if you haven't, that is, oh my god, I can't. There's not words to describe how phenomenal the writing, like the art aside. Let's not even talk about the art. The story itself is so well done. Like they just crushed everything about that. And the comic actually spawned. The comic's about a role playing game called Die.
Yes.
And then that spawned an actual role playing game, the actual Die game. I have all of it. I kickstarted it, like the most expensive thing they had. I was like, "Give me all that. Like I'll take everything you have." And it's the same guy who did the Wicked and the Divine, Kieran Gillen, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. He did the Wicked and the Divine as well, and that.
Oh yes.
Good.
Yes.
Die's better. Yeah,
I like the colors on that.
It was great. It was a cool, like, interesting take on this whole. People really love that, like, mythos, like, religious thing where people like spin a bunch of different mythologies, religions all into one thing, like Neil Gaiman did with what was the gods one he did?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. American Gods.
American Gods, yeah. Like that. You know, people really get into stuff like that because everybody kind of has like some pantheon that they remember when they were a kid that they learned about, or you were that one kid who was really into Egyptian mythology or something, then you get to see, you know, whoever come out, Osiris, and you're like, "Oh, I know this one." You know, like people really enjoy stuff like that. So Die had a not Die, The Wicked and the Divine had a really good pull with doing things like that.
That was real hot, and then it ended, and no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, it just went to the grave. Yeah, Die came out, blew it out of the water.
So, got people clamoring to see some artwork, folks. You guys ready to show your stuff off after I show what we got?
Absolutely.
From audience.
Mine's gonna be very disappointing.
Let me double check real quick one last time.
I should have redrawn this.
Didn't get anything since CJ sent his. So, okay. 12 people submitted this week.
Ooh,
nice.
That's a nice big number. And one of them submitted 2 versions. So, and again, the theme was bees. We will begin. We go in alphabetical order, essentially based on your Instagram name. So let me.
Based on your mother's maiden name.
Yep. And times her social security number divided by the number of numbers in your street address.
If you didn't send in those specifications, you're disqualified.
Okay. Hey, why didn't that button work? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, can I make it work a different way?
It's just the Phil show, man.
So let me ask, what do you see right now?
Just
me?
See you.
You see me.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And this wonderful jungle background. I've really been enjoying this the whole time.
Uh-oh. Oops,
Oh.
that looks weird.
Actually, I kind of like that one. I've never seen that.
Well, okay, I'm having an issue then. I'm
He,
not
like,
able
mashed all of our
to.
heads
I'm
up
not able
together.
to show my. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Let's do that again.
just like this, yeah. We look where the Wolverine claws thing, right? The cover, the claws, they do the
Yeah.
face. Where
It's
that?
It's not letting me share my monitor.
Wait.
Um.
Hold
Oh, here we go. I'll do share screen.
on.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Here we go. No, keep going.
I was lining up with half of Rosko's head.
Oh, that's me. Oh, you want to go the other direction?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's it.
I had to play that one. I had
We
to.
two-faced this.
Oh,
you know?
you know what? I know why this isn't working. Wow, that's really weird. Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
That's really-
Oh,
that's strange.
smart.
All right. Extreme tech support.
live on YouTube. Okay. I'm just trying to find, is there a better way for me to show this full screen? Or is this going to be it? I guess that'll be it. Is that the way you normally see it there?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do. I thought there was another thing. Oh, never mind.
Okay. Well, let me delay no further. This comes from 23 Manch.
Yes, awesome.
Bumblebee. And let me do the zooming and the panning. That needs to be a song. Zooming, panning, zooming and panning.
I like how you put his name like the.
Yes,
the
I always.
card thing.
Yes, I always like to see where people sign. Some don't, and others don't.
I feel
have a
bad about
normal-
that. I need to sign cooler. I just write it on there.
I love it. 23. That's great, brother. Way
Yeah,
to go,
that's
Mike.
good, man.
Next up, we have Lorenzo, otherwise known as Alternative City Comics.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, I love it.
That's so good.
I heard a rumor that Lorenzo might be showing up on this show in the future.
He
we know?
definitely will.
Okay.
Yes, he will. I love that though. That's excellent.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Next up, favorite longtime audience member, Bat Mite, aka Doreen. Fear the Beast.
Yes, I love
He's got
it.
the Yellow Lantern. The Yellow Lantern chest logo.
I love it.
It's so good.
That's
An
excellent.
Astro cool. Oh man.
There's the stinger. There's the barb in the fountain pen.
Yep, that's the time. Oh, I love it.
Excellent.
Okay, next up, Bobby Delegato.
Oh, let's go.
Awesome.
That's
man.
Oh my god, isn't that from Motu?
There's a B in the belt,
Right? I'm gonna Google it. Yeah, it is, right? That's Buzz Off. Am I crazy?
Let's see, Bobby in the audience, and I'm double checking.
Tell me
Usually,
if I'm crazy, Bobby.
also for future knowledge.
Somebody else said in the comments, Buzz Off. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
it. I think that's
Yes,
it.
yeah,
Right
Dr.
there.
Von Hoot. You know, Von Hoot, you are really good. I have to say this and other shows of coming out of the blue with the little trivial tidbits that no one else is quite remembering. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
It took me a minute to place. I was like, I know this like body type. It looks very much like a character. Yep, he said yep.
Yeah, there we go.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Next one comes from Cali Comics.
Who did Callie do?
The
Yeah.
Bees.
Yes.
Oh, we gotta do a
So this is some kind of art show.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love
Oh yeah, that's sick.
yes. And of course they can all play with more than 2 appendages. Let's see.
Oh, that's so handy.
Great. I love it. And they all got stingers.
Yeah, you can't forget the stingers.
It's essential.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
Thanks, Kelly. Next up, special arrival from Comics Journey. You ready?
What's CJ got to offer?
Here
What
we
is this
go.
gonna be?
Da, 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 da.
Oh wow.
Yeah, look
That's
at that.
wicked.
Love it.
Yeah, that's
Love
sick.
That
I
is-
love that you can see his. I don't know. I assume he began with pencils and then inked. I love that.
Man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick. I like all the little V's you like you put around the big one too.
And there's a signature. I forgot to go back and let's pay attention to folks'
That's
signatures too.
awesome.
Look at that. Yeah, nice. And what is this part of the bee called right here? Can you tell what I'm circling?
The
The
butt
lower,
part?
the lower section, yes.
The lower. I don't
The
know.
part the stinger is attached to. The lower butt part.
I read a comic about bees. I don't actually know anything about them.
Oh, okay.
No, I know some stuff about them, but I'm not good with them.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
I should have just made something up. I should have been like, yeah, that's the numeral thorax. Oh, look, somebody said thorax.
Yes, thorax. There we
I
go.
was joking and I got it kind of right.
We got
There you
we got people who know their bees.
Let's go.
That's just the bee's knees. I'm not going to say that anymore. Next up, thank you, Comic Journey. Next up, we've got Joe, who brings in some boobies.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh, Joe.
Classic.
It was the best.
There we are. Look at his signatures there. Just so you know who to report.
Joe,
Who
you
you can
should
buy
have
it from.
done it like micro and then just made it the nipple. The nipple's just his signature in a circle around it.
Yeah.
Just super thin, you know?
Yeah.
Just...
Draws your eye in. What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah. What does that say in there?
I have to read who did this.
I like when you zoom in, it looks even like more realistic.
It's hypnotized.
Oh, it's good. I love that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Next, K-pop junkie. Are you ready?
What's K-pop
Uh-oh.
got for us? Yeah, let's go.
Hot dog show.
Hey.
Buzz dogs.
I love
There's
it.
a bee over here with on the hot dog. All bee hot dogs.
All be hot dogs.
That's hilarious.
Does that mean the
sick.
hot dogs are made out of bees? Like,
Oh yeah, no, he needs to be making a sad face.
I know you could if they have food out of crickets now.
This is a villainous version of beeswax. He's serving bees as food now. Oh, I love it. It's so good. I love seeing when people draw my character. It's so sick to see other people do something you do. And she did the honeycomb portals too.
Is that over here in the?
Yeah, yeah. In the comic, like he's a teleporter, like Blink from the X-Men, and he goes through honeycomb portals. So K-pop knows.
Thanks, K-pop. Beautiful. She says she woke up for this or didn't sleep for this or something.
Oh, let's go. Appreciate that.
Okay, next up. This next one comes from Manny. This is Nick Cage from Wicker Man.
Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh.
And I told Manny this offline,
Oh,
and I love the signature there, but I told Manny this offline. He reminds me, Manny's artwork reminds me of an artist named Farrell Dalrymple. Are you familiar?
I don't think I know the name.
It's spelled kind of strangely. He most recently did a 6-issue mini series relating to mind management. Kent's mind management, but he's done a lot of indie work.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of books he's done. Lord.
Anyway, and I mean that in all the best ways because he's a favorite artist of mine, and there's like a mood or an atmosphere that Manny's got, in my opinion. So anyway, thank you, Manny.
Oh, he worked on Bizarro.
Next up, this comes from Nick the Comic Nerd.
Oh, the
is that
Cheerios?
is that the honey?
Cheerios,
Yeah, it is Honey Nut.
I love that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yes.
See, I told you, Rosko. People, you give them something that sounds like a letter or an animal, and people just go everywhere, right?
That's true.
You get so many good creative ideas.
Now, if Nick has a signature, he's hiding it well.
Oh yeah, where is it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it to be. And all of a sudden, I'm reminded. Did you? This is really going down a different rabbit hole. Did you realize that on every issue of Playboy magazine there is a rabbit head? It's not always obvious, and sometimes they really do.
They just like hide it in there.
Yep. That was something that was always it was find the rabbit head on that issue.
I was thinking they did like Image Comics in my head all of a sudden, like it was the head and then a number.
So thank you very much, Nick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. And what a recognizable icon.
Yeah, really.
Both of them, right? But
I didn't even think about him coming in.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Philtastic. Now, he sent a little note. I was going to say, if you've got a little note, I do my best to include it. And so this is called Bet on Susan B. And he started this before you started talking about Two-Face. So it was a coincidence that this comes up. Here it is.
I love it.
Awesome.
Susan B. Anthony, the coin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so clever. Why didn't I do this? I should have thought of this. Why didn't I do this myself? Oh,
that is so dope. That's so awesome, Phil.
Yeah, bravo.
Is that all digital too?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Phil if you're in here. Oh, yeah, he is. Let us know
good.
how you're doing this.
It's on Procreate, I'm pretty sure. Is
Oh, it's on
my guess.
Procreate. Okay.
Oh, and
That's
here's
what
the
my guess
signature
is.
up
But
here.
let's see what he says.
Man, that's really nice. I thought it was like at first I was thinking when we were back away from it like this, I was thinking it was done on blackboard and then like scanned in, you know, and like added some things. And then when he zoomed up, I was like, oh, I think it's digital.
Yeah, look,
That's really nice. I like that a lot.
I like the way for lack of a better way of putting, I like the way the color is applied.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's a really strong color.
Yeah, Procreate.
Procreate, yeah. No, that's sick, dude. Favorite characters. I'm really happy. I can't believe somebody did a Two-Face off the beat thing like that. That couldn't have been more perfect, honestly. That's so amazing.
So we've got two left, but they're both different. They're both variations of each other. They're from Aaron, Red Art and Comics.
Okay.
Here is the first one.
Ooh.
Between the Lines.
That's so
I love
good.
it. That is so cool.
Oh, look at all the stippling. Man. That's so nice.
And now I'm playing Hunt for the Signature too. I love this. I love this work.
And a play on the show name. Brilliant.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And so here is the variant on the same. It's a colored variation.
Ooh.
I
The
love
color
it.
looks really good.
I like
so
seeing
good.
the different stages of the art. Sometimes people will send in more than one of the same thing as they work along. Let's see.
I need to do better about my stippling. This makes me jealous.
Yeah, Bobby. There's some
Is that
merch.
on a t-shirt?
There's some
Yeah.
merch for you, Roscoe.
That's the merch, yeah.
Yeah, that it's true. That is true.
Or a coffee mug, or what would be
Put it on
appropriate?
Redbubble, or people can just put it on whatever they want.
Let's see. Honey. There you go. This would be your honey
signature series. I love that.
So I'll do it. That's all we had. I'll do a quick review in reverse, and then we will throw this over to our panelists to expose. It's not letting me access the back button.
I feel bad about everything I did now. Everybody turned in great stuff, and I'm like, oh, I should have experimented. Should have done something good.
Get out of here.
I'm exposing myself.
So that was from Aaron, aka Norn Rad, Art and Comics. There's Phil Tastics, Nick the Comic Nerd, Manny, that's Nick Cage, from Wicker Man, K-Pop, I'll be hot dogs, Joe.
I'll be hot dogs.
Oh, a little dark. Let me zoom into those boobies for you, since that's a little. There's a clip. You're feeling very sleepy. Okay.
Very sleepy.
There's from Comic Journey. Love the mood.
CJ always has like crazy like horror stuff. It feels
Yeah.
like, right? Like it always has that kind of energy to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I don't know. I get the impression he works relatively quickly. At least that's what all his ex-girlfriends tell me.
Got him.
No. I mean that in the best of ways. I think I've seen his work on other shows, and it seems to be something that he's kind of drawn for the occasion with a little warning. Anyway, thank you, sir. Glad you caught us in time. Here's Callie's live on stage. It's
live on stage.
Bobby G. Light detail on the wing. Here's from Doreen Batmite. Fear the Bees.
Yeah.
From Lorenzo. And closing things down with 23 Much. Bubbly.
Nice. That's awesome. Appreciate everyone. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So dope. All right. So Matt, it's up to you, brother. Do you want to show yours first, or you want me to show mine? I'm still not done, but
Okay, hold on. Wait. I'll show mine then if you're not done.
oh, look at this guy.
Let me.
Yeah, show us your
Cardboard crazies is in the building.
show us your penis.
Hell no.
I'm like trying to like add things to mine as we're watching. I'm like, please make it better. I shouldn't have done this.
How you doing, Chris? Good to see you, brother.
So mine's gonna be a little bit of a deep cut. People are not gonna get it, but I've never drawn it before, so I thought it'd be fun. So this is a character. Oh, dude, her boobies are so disproportionate. My fault.
They're hypnotizing.
Yeah, they're
Boobies.
So there's a character in a game called Vampire Savior that's near and dear to my heart. It's a fighting game from the 90s. And this is the character QB, who's one of the soul bees in that universe. They're all monsters, like horror icons. And this is kind of my take on her, I guess. I don't draw women very much. So yeah, so that was my go at it. I tried to get her kind of wings tucked behind her and her arms. I don't know. It's a mess, but she's got boobs. Just
she's got boobs, so
yeah.
She passes.
Tried to get something. I'm trying to kind of spoilers maybe. Little first ever on the show again. I'm working on another female character to add to the lineup in the comic. Just because you need one. And I was playing around with some ideas of that in here as well, and some different concepts. So I thought it'd be a good one to do on the show.
Nice. Awesome, bro. I love it. Excellent. Very cool. All right. Okay, so I did. Okay. First off, I love Phil with his chicken head. What? Who said that?
He laid an egg.
But anyway, okay, so I did. All right. Does anybody remember a cartoon? I think Callie has drawn it before, but the Wuzzles. Does anybody remember the Wuzzles?
The Wuzzles. From what?
They were a cartoon.
From was that you talking about?
Okay, well,
they were like a little kids cartoon, right? Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was from when I was a kid. Yeah, well,
I'm gonna Google that.
Okay, so one of the characters is a lion crossed with a bumblebee. His name is Bumble Lion.
Yep. Okay, I know this show.
Okay, so what happened was that's already a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
But me, I like to cross over that character. So I crossed over it with so he's gonna be first off I used a crossover.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we did Bumble Lino.
Wow.
Oh my god.
So
that's amazing. Yeah.
So I'm in the I'm still in the process of making it, but yeah, this is it's getting there. So
that's sick. Oh my god. I love that. Bumble Lionel. That's definitely another one I would not have thought I was gonna see. Oh, it's so good.
I know. I was like, what character can I do? And it was like he's a crossover with a lion, and I'm like, well, what can I do with lion? And then I'm like,
that's a deep
crossing over the crossover. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have all that lightning that's gonna come off of all the sword all the way down, and it's gonna have my name down there. So.
And you just say the glove is dried honey.
The little sword. The little sword. I gave him a little sword.
Little sword.
Gave him a little sword.
Say the glove is just dried honey on there. Like he dipped his hand in a honey pot.
Oh yeah, this is that glove that he wears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of did something different. But yeah, so
I love that.
Something different. It was fun. But again, appreciate everyone. Thank you all so much. You're all awesome. You guys are so great. Thank you everyone that sent the at-home artwork. We love those. We love seeing those.
Yeah.
And Matt, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you coming on here to hang out with us,
Thank you
goons.
guys.
And please let us know anything you got coming up, anything you want to let the people know.
Issue 3 of Beeswax. I'm halfway there. I feel like I'm delayed. I think I've talked about this on Instagram a couple of times. I feel like I'm behind schedule, but I'm still ahead of schedule, so we're good. Issue 3 will be dropping soon. That's coming out. It'll be on Instagram as soon as you see it. Whenever I finish it, I'll post it on Instagram so people know that it's coming out. Issues 1 and 2 are still available briefly. So if anybody needs copies, DM me on Instagram. Go to my link tree. All my socials are on there. There's a cartoon possibly in the works. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm still allowed to talk about that. I might be able to. I was under NDA like the last 3 times I had this on the show, and I alluded to it, never said it. And I didn't think about it before I said it this time. So hopefully I don't get in trouble.
And nobody watches this show.
Yeah, it's okay.
So that's something that's in the works. There's a Beeswax theme song coming out. It's for the cartoon. I haven't got to hear the whole thing yet, but that will probably come out before the cartoon does, if I have anything to say about it. I'm trying to think of other cool stuff we have coming out. The other comic that I started before Beeswax, people have probably heard about, that didn't get to come out. I am working on getting that out. So the other project's not dead. It's way more serious. It's not an all ages book like Beeswax is. I'm trying to get that out to people. So as soon as I can get artists on that project, it's not dead like I thought it was going to be. So I know people have heard a lot of things about the script from that, and other things have come out kind of over time. So that project is still trying to keep it alive. If I can find people to do it that's a good fit for the project, I'm still going to attempt to put that out with the monthly Beeswax. I'm going to try to get it out there. And there's a cool crossover coming out. I guess I can talk about that now. There's a comic called One Shot by J. Tommy. Listen, I don't know how to say people's names, so everybody's going to have to forgive me. It's JTAMIMI. He's a Whatnot artist. Cool guy. He does a book called One Shot about a cat who's like an old West gunslinger, kind of was a villain, but kind of reformed now, that type of Western story. We're going to do like a horror crossover event, like a 1-issue. Beeswax is going to show up. It's going to be set in the past, in a Western kind of environment. Cool. That'll be coming out. I don't have an exact date on that. Probably later this year, I would assume, at the earliest. We'll probably shoot for like a Halloween thing or something. Just because we both have ongoing books, so it's a little hard to get the extra ones in.
Right.
And then shows. I've got a bunch of shows coming up. FrankenCon, Heroes Con. I'm not going to have a booth, but I'm going to try to be there. So if anybody wants to see me, find me. I'd love to hang out with everybody. Because I won't have anything else to do while I'm there. So I'm not used to being at a convention not working it.
Have fun.
Nerds words. But I have fun around other people. I'm so bad about like not being around people. I have to be like really social all the time. There's a convention called Nerds Words. I don't know if I'm guaranteed for it yet, but they want me as a guest, so I'm supposed to be a featured guest there. I don't know what's happening with that. Pikeville Toy and Comic Convention in Kentucky. I'm trying to get there. All these things are in June too. Everything. The comic has, if you have issues of the comic, my convention schedule's in there. I don't want to take up too much time, but there should be a convention schedule in the comics that's fairly reliable. You'll see Between the Lines on there. The show's listed. I've got links to everybody. Yeah, I try to give everybody support everywhere I can. I try to get out there and put it in issues.
Appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on. I love the show. I'm glad I got to come and do it. And
it's fun. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you were able to, man. It's excellent. Awesome. Well, Matt, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Phil, got anything going on besides that chicken on your head?
Well, I just got laid. Actually, Cindy said it's okay to tell you that pretty soon we're going to start taking pre-orders in the merch store for the Between the Lines gasoline-powered turtleneck sweater. So just in time for summer. That'll be fun. Bring it to the beach. It's air conditioned. And other than that, on Sundays, I'm serious. Sorry.
Oh gosh.
Okay. And on Sundays, bring your stacks of unorganized books and come sort them with me. Or, if you prefer,
just dress in a comfy bathrobe and bring your glass of wine and sit back while you watch me go through my books. So that'll be every Sunday at 4:00 on YouTube. Part of the Sunday lineup. That's all I got. Probably the best
Excellent.
that way.
Awesome, Phil. Thank you again. I appreciate you filling in. And me, actually, you know what? Keep an eye out for my page. I'm actually editing 2 videos. I went to a wrestling event, and that was a lot of fun. I acted like I was a 12-year-old kid. So I got a whole video of that, and then I'm also editing one from where I just went on the West Coast. It's a robe optional.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm going to edit that too, because I went and I visited a comic book shop over there as well called Bat City Comics, and it just had released the Dick Tracy book, and they had their own special exclusive there and stuff. So I got to meet the artists and stuff. It was pretty cool. So I'll be making a video of that, and but yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Who knows? I'm trying to edit that and do all my drawing, and it's just life. But anyway, I appreciate everyone. Thank you all so much. Matt, again, thank you. Everyone in the chat, truly appreciate you all hanging out, asking questions, send you're at home. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And again, Phil, thanks, brother, for filling in. And again, you know how I like to end the show. Take it away.
Hey, if anybody hasn't told you today, I just want to stop by and say you're looking pretty freaking awesome. Because you are pretty freaking awesome. So have yourself a pretty freaking awesome day. Okay. That's it. That's all I want.